521. The cause and effect is too great, 1 against 12. The ancestral land of the witch clan, the heavenly witch immortal. The moment you said that, everyone became even more enraged. Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable didn't care what they thought, he simply waved his sleeve and sent them all out. He knew your only aid was that immortal king puppet. But that was also your reward for clearing the trial. He had witnessed all your actions in the Tianwu domain. The reason you could fight Zhu Juyin, god of time, was entirely due to the domineering nature of the Tianwu battle body and the bloodline power of Tianwu Immortal Lord within your body. Tianwu Immortal Lord is the true bloodline origin of the witch clan, the origin of the bloodline source. When you cultivated the Tianwu battle body, you awakened his bloodline. It was normal to possess such battle power. After the eliminated examinees arrived outside, their mentors and friends were shocked. How could even 2 imperial stars be eliminated? Aren't they reborn? Instead, the strongest devil star remained until the end. A demon star, of course, is insidious and cunning. Everyone's mentors and friends gathered around, asking what had happened. When they learned that he had crushed them with his strength, everyone fell silent. At this moment, Hongjun Immortal Venerable came before everyone and said, "Are all you fellow Taoists just going to stand by and watch the strongest devil star take away the legacy of Tianwu Immortal Lord?" The other Immortal Venerables shook their heads. Among them, Fa Xian's Grandmaster Hong Yi, said, "This young lay Buddhist might be the child of extinction in the future, with hope of breakthrough to Immortal Emperor. Rashly making an enemy of him might incur great karma." Yes, the other Immortal Venerables also deeply agreed. Although the legacy of Tianwu Immortal Lord was tempting, their lives were more important. Yaoqi Jade Mother, Hu Yunzhang's master, and Jade Universe Celestial Venerable, Xiaoshu Immortal King's master, still felt a bit unwilling in their hearts. But this karma was indeed too great. Since they hadn't completely become enemies yet, they wouldn't get involved in this karma. Hongjun Immortal Venerable snorted coldly and flicked his sleeve, departing. Lu Chengsheng sacrificed the imperial star he had long prepared, ruining his Tao path. The grudge was already formed, he certainly wouldn't give up easily. Since these old foxes were unwilling to act, he would do it himself. Anyway, as long as you hadn't become an Immortal Venerable, he would always have a chance to kill you. Inside the Tianwu Divine Hall, Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable said to you, "Congratulations, you have already secured the position of the inheritor in advance." He asked you if you wanted to continue the trial next. You thought for a moment, continue. Although there were still about 50 years left, the flow of time was different on both sides. For you, it was just another 6 days of endurance. There were still many places in the Tianwu domain that had not been explored. Most importantly, you wanted to witness an Immortal Venerable battle with your own eyes. Tianwu Immortal Lord was a master of the Immortal Venerable 8th realm. What kind of demeanor would the one who could slay him possess? Upon seeing this, Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable was delighted. He told you that he had lost his memories from before the destruction of the Tianwu domain. Ever since he gained consciousness, he had been in this Tianwu Divine Hall, with a voice in his heart telling him to guard this place and await the inheritor. To uncover his origin, he had even searched in the river of time but found nothing. This space-time teleportation array was personally arranged by Tianwu Immortal Lord. He hoped that your true spirit clone could find traces of him in the past. Or ask the space-time phantom of Tianwu Immortal Lord, what exactly is Wu Tuo's origin? You were startled. You hadn't expected that Wu Tuo, as a mighty Immortal Venerable, didn't even know his own origin. You thought it was possible that the one who killed Tianwu Immortal Lord was too terrifying, so Tianwu Immortal Lord deliberately erased Wu Tuo's memories and historical traces to prevent him from being implicated. Anyway, this was just a small favor, and you readily agreed. The Tianwu domain, ever since your true spirit clone battled Zhu Juyin, became famous, known to everyone in the Tianwu domain. However, your true spirit clone's realm was too low after all, only capable of short engagements. Afterward, he disappeared, hiding to continue his cultivation. Years passed. When resources were scarce, you went around plundering them. As your strength grew stronger, the 12 bloodline origins couldn't do anything to you. Just like that, 10 years passed. You break through to the middle stage of the 12th layer, and your strength advanced further. If you added your bloodline power, no one among the 12 bloodline origins could defeat you in a one-on-one fight. As a result, you naturally became even more troublesome. Another 15 years passed. You break through to the late stage of the 12th layer, even if you were besieged by several bloodline origins, you had no fear. You became a bug in the desolate domain, you plundered whoever you wanted. Even the 12 bloodline origins were plundered quite a bit by you. They were angry and helpless, only hoping that the next time the ancestral land opened, they could find a way to deal with you. 20 years later, you break through to the peak of the 12th layer. At this time, you were comparable to old ancestor Hongjun before he break through to Immortal Venerable, completely invincible. There were only 5 years left until the 100-year mark. You decided to use these last 5 years to fulfill your agreement with Wu Tuo and search for his origin. If you found something, you could make him owe you a favor. This was an Immortal Venerable's favor, no small matter. You spent 3 years searching throughout the Tianwu domain but found nothing. At this time, the Witch clan's ancestral land opened. This ancestral land is the origin of the Witch clan. It appears only once every 10 million years. When the ancestral land appeared, you were startled to find, isn't this the Tianwu Divine Hall? You wondered if Tianwu Immortal Lord and Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable were inside. Before entering, you blocked the entrance of the Divine Hall, not allowing others to enter. There must be good things inside, and you couldn't let others get them. The 12 bloodline origins were enraged. You plundered things before, and now you won't even let them enter their own clan's ancestral land. This is simply too much. The 12 joined forces and attacked you. Except for Zhu Juyin, who controlled the power of time, and Dizhong, who controlled the power of space, who were a bit stronger. The others were simply no match for you. Soon, they were defeated and suppressed by you. With your formidable might, you entered the Tianwu Divine Hall alone. Upon entering, you saw a savage, with bare feet and ragged clothes, an axe hanging from his waist, and long disheveled hair, sitting cross-legged in the center of the main hall. The savage looked rough and wild, but you could feel a deeply hidden destructive power within his body. He was clearly an Immortal Venerable. Could it be Tianwu Immortal Lord? You had never seen Tianwu Immortal Lord himself, not even his portraits or statues had been passed down. The savage heard footsteps, raised his head, and slowly opened his eyes, his voice hoarse, "You have finally come." 522. Historical Phantom, Descendants of Pangu. The struggle for the Great Tao, the origin of Wu Tuo. You were startled, as it seemed he was specifically waiting for you. You respectfully bowed to him and asked, "Senior, are you perhaps Tianwu Immortal Lord?" The wildman nodded and then shook his head, yes and no. The true Tianwu Immortal Lord is already dead. I am merely a historical phantom he left behind. It's only because this Tianwu Divine Hall is quite special that I haven't dissipated. You asked again, full of doubt, "Senior, it seems you were waiting for me." Tianwu Immortal Lord's historical phantom nodded and said, "That's right. Tianwu Immortal Lord died a long time ago. I have been here for endless years, all for you." He continued, "Tianwu Immortal Lord foresaw his death a long time ago and also saw the Witch clan perish with him. He deduced tens of millions of future outcomes, and only saw a glimmer of hope in you. What Tianwu Immortal Lord wants to entrust to you is to preserve the last trace of the Witch clan's bloodline." You asked in confusion, since Tianwu Immortal Lord knew of his death, why didn't he avoid that outcome? Tianwu Immortal Lord's historical phantom said, "This is a Tao dispute, there is no room for reconciliation between the two sides. If you wish to become Tianwu Immortal Lord's legacy, you will also be entangled in this karma." You said, "Then you must at least know who the other party is, right?" Tianwu Immortal Lord's historical phantom said, "This piece of history is not a secret among Immortal Venerables, but it cannot be spoken by me, otherwise, it is easy for them to sense it. So the answer can only be sought by you yourself." All right, another person who speaks in riddles. You then remembered Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable's request, so you asked him about Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable's origin. Unexpectedly, he smiled mysteriously and said you would know soon. Indeed, people who speak in riddles never forget to pose riddles. Since he said you would know soon, it seems Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable should appear very soon. There are still 5 years left. Regarding how to save the Witch clan's bloodline, you need to hurry. You left the Tianhuang Divine Hall and came outside, seeing the 12 bloodline sources you had tied up. Your heart stirred, and you immediately had an idea. You took some of their flesh and blood. You also took some flesh and blood from Witch clan experts. Then you took them to the distant primordial domain. The primordial domain at this time had just been opened not long ago. You put their flesh and blood in, and soon the Witch clan appeared on the primordial land. To make these witch clan members adapt to this place, you also erased their memories. They honored you as Father God and asked for your name. A name is not something to be chosen lightly. Your real name certainly cannot be used. The bronze compass you carried with you emitted an ancient aura. Bronze compass, ancient, you immediately had an idea. You said your name was Pan-Jehu. Thereafter, the witch clan of the primordial domain considered themselves descendants of Pan-Jehu. The most powerful 12 witch clan members formed from the bloodline sources called themselves the 12 ancestral witches. You also looked for that kid Hongjun in the primordial domain. He has not yet become a saint and is hiding somewhere. Besides the primordial domain, you also went to other worlds and sowed some witch clan flesh and blood. Your identity as Pan-Jehu became increasingly renowned. It was only then that you realized that Pan-Jehu was not Tianwu Immortal Lord. Instead, it was an alias for your true spirit clone. The witch clan calling themselves Pan-Gu's bloodline, was it your true spirit clone's sudden inspiration, or was it a predetermined fate in the unseen world? Time flew by, and soon 5 years had passed. In these 5 years, you sowed the witch clan's bloodline in millions of worlds. You wondered if this would be enough to preserve the witch clan's bloodline. But thinking about it, it shouldn't be that easy. Otherwise, Tianwu Immortal Lord could have done it himself. Why would he entrust it to you? However, besides this, you had no other better method. Anyway, you had done everything you could, and a clear conscience was enough. In the last bit of this 100-year period, your true spirit clone returned to the Tianwu domain. You wanted to witness what the immortal Venerable battle that destroyed the Tianwu domain looked like. After a few days, a terrifying figure with an indistinct face descended upon the Tianwu domain. He was like a supreme king, looking down on everything. Every step he took made the Tianwu domain tremble. Is this the person who killed Tianwu Immortal Lord? He is indeed terrifying. Due to the immense pressure, you had to retreat back into the Tianwu Divine Hall. Inside the Tianwu Divine Hall, the disheveled Wildman stood up, saying firmly and slowly, "I should go and fulfill my historical mission." His tone was ancient, full of a sense of destiny. But you knew his mission was to die. Tianwu Immortal Lord's historical phantom walked to the entrance of the Divine Hall, then suddenly turned to you and said, "Haven't you always been looking for Wu Tuo? He has already appeared." With that, he went to meet the blurry figure. Your heart trembled. What, the one who killed Tianwu Immortal Lord is Wu Tuo? That shouldn't be. If that were the case, why would he seek a legacy for his enemy? At this moment, the two had already engaged in battle. A casual strike from either of them could shatter mountains and rivers, and cleave the sky, possessing an irresistible might. But the blurry figure was clearly stronger. He completely suppressed Tianwu Immortal Lord throughout the fight, and after 100 or so moves, he directly killed him. Subsequently, you only felt a gaze directed at you. You felt a chill run down your spine, a sense of mortal danger. Is Wu Tuo going to kill you now? Just then, the bronze compass, whose purpose had been unknown, suddenly reacted. It emitted a hazy light, blocking the gaze, and then took the entire Tianwu Divine Hall into a void. Even so, the threat was not removed. It was as if something wanted to follow your memory and obliterate you. The 100-year period was almost up, and the space-time teleportation array was losing its effectiveness. Your main body, in the last moments, erased all memories of the true spirit clone, and then lost connection with him. After the true spirit clone lost his memories, he remained in the Tianwu Divine Hall. He didn't know his origin or name, but some information in the main hall made him feel that he might be the guardian of the legacy here. He began to continue to cultivate the Tianwu battle body. As for the immortal medicines and such left by Tianwu Immortal Lord, keeping them would only cause them to rot over time, so your true spirit clone devoured them to enhance his own strength. This is not called embezzlement, this is called reasonable use. After countless eons, he successively achieved a breakthrough to the 13th and 14th layers of the Tianwu battle body, his strength comparable to an immortal Venerable. At this point, when he tried hard to recall everything about himself, he only got 2 words, Wu Tuo. It turns out his name was Wu Tuo. 523. The past of history, finally got the inheritance of Tianwu. Tianwu Abacus, Tower of Time. After an unknown period, the bronze compass's light gradually dimmed, and the Tianwu Divine Hall reappeared in the Tianwu domain. However, the Tianwu domain was now completely destroyed. It was a scene of desolation, with only ruins remaining. Your true spirit clone, Wu Tuo, inquired about the surrounding world and discovered that 100 billion years had already passed. He never forgot his mission to find a legacy holder. Although Tian Wu Immortal Lord had fallen, the matter of legacy could not be taken lightly. Thus, Wu Tuo set up several high-difficulty challenges and spread word to find a successor. The final challenge was designed based on the space-time array left behind by Tian Wu Immortal Lord. Major Immortal Venerable forces arrived upon hearing the news. Even though their disciples were all exceptional prodigies, very few managed to enter the fourth challenge. Millions of years later, when a person named Lu Chengsheng stepped into the Tian Wu Divine Hall, Wu Tuo felt a sense of familiarity. Later, this person performed exceptionally well in the assessment, which made him look at Lu Chengsheng with even higher regard. Therefore, during the third challenge, he offered an Immortal King Puppet. He knew that the Immortal King Puppet could ensure Lu Chengsheng's survival in the early stages, and coupled with his prodigy aptitude, this legacy was almost certainly his. In the end, just as Wu Tuo expected, he indeed overwhelmed everyone and claimed the legacy. During the final moments of the space-time trial, Wu Tuo also asked him to search for his own origin. However, regrettably, his origin remained unknown. You looked at Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable, with some guesses in your heart, but you couldn't be certain. You ultimately erased the memories of your Wu Emperor Peak True Spirit clone and left him in the Tian Wu Divine Hall. After 100 billion years of cultivation, it would not be difficult for the True Spirit clone to break through to Immortal Venerable. However, his realm was too high. If he truly was a true spirit clone, it would be easy for him to usurp control. You decided to quietly cultivate first. You would subdue him later. Wu Tuo said to you, you have obtained all of Tian Wu Immortal Lord's legacy, and all treasures are yours to take. Of course, the immortal elixirs and divine pills that increased strength had already been used by him, so you couldn't use them. You inwardly cursed him for embezzlement. However, you still inventoried the other treasures. There were massive amounts of cultivation techniques and weapons inside, as well as various rare materials. There were dozens of Immortal Venerable laws, making you incredibly envious. Not to mention innate spirit treasures, there were over 1,000 of them. There were also 7 innate spirit treasures. Wait, why are there only 6 now? You remembered there were 7 when you chose treasures during the challenges. Wu Tuo Immortal Emperor said that during the previous trials, Tianao Immortal Emperor obtained 1 innate spirit treasure as a reward. Those were your treasures. You must definitely get them back from that guy Tianhao later. That guy seems to be an Emperor star, right? Daring to provoke you, the strongest devil star, he must be tired of living. After obtaining Tian Wu Immortal Lord's legacy, you began to ponder how to break through to Immortal Venerable as quickly as possible. After all, Hong Jun Immortal Venerable was still waiting outside. If you didn't break through, you wouldn't be able to pass his hurdle. As for Wu Tuo, he was an Immortal Venerable, perhaps he could protect you a bit, but he wouldn't obey you. To save your own life, you still had to rely on yourself. To break through to Immortal Venerable, one needed a complete innate spirit, the transformation of immortal power and immortal soul into Tao power and Tao soul, and finally, comprehending a Tao principles ranked within the top 3,000. Currently, the easiest condition for you to achieve was the Tao soul. You were already renowned, your name shaking most of the immortal domain. Now, with the title of Strongest Devil Star and having obtained Tianwu Immortal Lord's legacy, your fame naturally soared even higher. You could receive massive amounts of sentient thought power every day. You possessed the myriad spirit's godforging talent, allowing you to rapidly enhance your divine soul using sentient thought power. Furthermore, Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable was also suspected to be your true spirit clone. Only after your divine soul advanced could you better sense and control him. At that time, you would possess a major Immortal Venerable combat power. Just thinking about it was incredibly exhilarating. But Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable then said that he had already found a successor for Tianwu Immortal Lord, and the outside world was so vast that he wanted to see it. You told him not to rush, saying that once your divine soul breakthrough, you would possess stronger self-preservation abilities, and then he could go wherever he wished, and you would never stop him. Wu Tuo thought about it and decided to agree. Anyway, with your talent, it wouldn't take long. Once you break through, he would go out and experience the wider world. Thus, you began to cultivate diligently in the Tianwu Divine Hall. Wanting your divine soul to undergo a transformation was by no means an overnight task. So you activated time acceleration. With your current strength and the power of myriad laws' divine rule, you could accelerate time by up to 30,000 times, greatly increasing your cultivation speed. To be even faster, you also asked Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable to help accelerate it. Wu Tuo Immortal Venerable, however, said that he followed the path of the physical body and was not proficient in laws or Tao principles. You asked him if he cultivated the Tian Wu battle body. He said yes. This made you even more confident. Just as you were in closed-door cultivation, Tianao Immortal Emperor proactively sought out Hongjun Immortal Venerable, who was guarding outside the Tian Wu Divine Hall. Tianao Immortal Emperor said that he possessed a secret treasure that could unleash an Immortal Venerable strike, and he hoped to assist him in killing the strongest Devil Star. You had snatched his last spot, otherwise, the legacy holder might have been him. This deep-seated hatred, he had to avenge. Moreover, he was an Emperor Star, and you were the strongest Devil Star. As long as he personally killed you, his luck would invisibly increase significantly, making him more likely to become an epic child. Perhaps he could even seize your legacy and get a share from you. Hongjun Immortal Venerable agreed. After all, why not have an extra helper? On the other side, Yaoqi Jade Mother and Jade Universe Celestial Venerable met again. Yaoqi Jade Mother said, now that the strongest Devil Star has obtained Tianwu Immortal Lord's legacy, he might break through to Immortal Venerable soon. Both our disciples are Emperor Stars and will definitely become his targets, so we must plan early. Jade Universe Celestial Venerable said, we can protect our disciples for a time, but not forever. The most important thing is for them to rely on themselves. I have already decided to send Xiao Shu to the Time Tower to cultivate for 1,000 years. The Time Tower was the innate spirit treasure of the Time Immortal Venerable, capable of accelerating time by up to 100,000 times. 1,000 years outside would be equivalent to hundreds of millions of years inside. Of course, the Time Immortal Venerable would not allow free use, some valuable resources had to be handed over. Yaoqi Jade Mother nodded, I had the same idea. And so, Xiao Shu Immortal King and Hu Yunzheng were both sent to the Time Tower. 524. Condensing the Tao Soul, enlightening Wu Tuo. Hongjun was shocked and sacrificed Tianao. Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu's cultivation was relatively low, and under 100,000 times acceleration, he quickly achieved a breakthrough to Immortal Emperor. After achieving a breakthrough to Immortal Emperor, he began to enlighten his other selves. Because you had tens of millions of other selves, and Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu also needed to use some of his energy to condense the ancestral court buildings. For a time, no abnormalities were discovered. Just like this, 20 years passed. Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu enlightened hundreds of thousands of other selves, and his realm also reached the third realm of Immortal Emperor. There were still 980 years remaining, and when he entered, his master had given him many resources, so he felt that he could definitely achieve a breakthrough to half-step Immortal Exalted. At the same time, after your divine soul devoured a massive amount of sentient beings, Nian Li, it finally reached a certain limit. Your divine soul began to undergo a transformation. Soon, another 10 years passed. Your divine soul finally completed its transformation. It was no longer an immortal soul, but a Tao soul belonging to an immortal venerable. An immortal soul possesses the characteristic of longevity, being immortal and imperishable. A Tao soul, on the other hand, is a soul close to the Tao. Once one cultivates a Tao soul, their comprehension ability will first surge, making it easier to comprehend various Tao principles. Below the Immortal Venerable realm, to achieve such comprehension ability, one would have to refine a massive amount of rare resources that enhance comprehension ability. Secondly, a Tao soul is not stained by karma. Below the Immortal Venerable realm, divine souls are entangled with karma, muddled and confused. Once a tribulation arrives, they will perish in it, their physical body and Tao disappearing, their soul flying away and spirit scattering. Immortal Venerables are not without karma, but karma cannot entangle their divine soul, nor can it obscure the wisdom of an Immortal Venerable, thereby allowing them to avoid many dangers. Furthermore, both the quality and quantity of a Tao soul far surpass an immortal soul. And you achieved a breakthrough to Tao soul from the limit of an immortal soul. The power of your Tao soul surpasses that of an ordinary Immortal Venerable, such as Hongjun, who has just achieved a breakthrough to Immortal Venerable. Your Tao soul power unfolded, vast and mighty, instantly enveloping the entire shattered Tianwu domain, and spreading outwards, exploring an area that likely spans several hundred Tianwu domains. Before the breakthrough, your divine soul power could only cover most of the Tianwu domain. Now, having achieved a qualitative leap, it is incomparable. You also discovered Immortal Venerable Hongjun and Tianao Immortal Emperor outside. The two of them were blocking the door. Immortal Venerable Hongjun is understandable, he is, after all, a genuine Immortal Venerable. Tian Hao, merely a half-step Immortal Exalted, dared to block the door, he is truly courting death. Then, you turned your gaze towards Wu Tuo. Now is the time to verify his true identity. Once successful, Immortal Venerable Hongjun will no longer be a threat. Of course, to be safe, you still decided to make a disclaimer first. You asked Immortal Venerable Wu Tuo if he would be willing to try a method that could uncover his origin. Immortal Venerable Wu Tuo said, just do it. Then, you used your Dao soul power and entered Wu Tuo's physical body. After your Dao soul power entered, you indeed sensed your true spirit. At this point, your true spirit was finally not missing and could be completed. Wu Tuo's physical body twitched for a moment, and when he opened his eyes again, he laughed openly, so I am you. After you sensed and regained control of your true spirit, Wu Tuo also understood all the karma. It turned out that he was actually the clone you left in the past. At this time, Wu Tuo's Tian Wu battle body was in the middle stage of the 14th layer. His combat power was not weaker than a powerhouse at the Immortal Venerable Third Realm. There are mainly two ways to achieve a breakthrough to Immortal Venerable, the Soul Dao and the Physical Body Dao. For example, the method of achieving a breakthrough by gathering innate spirits and transforming the Divine Soul into a Dao Soul focuses on the Soul Dao. 525. The 8th Realm of the Immortal Emperor, the characteristic of world destruction. The strongest demon star in the previous life, the Demon Lord of Divine Will. The great existence in the ethereal realm descended once more. This time, you still chose cultivation. There were several sub-options for cultivation, and your focus was on immortal power. A breakthrough in divine soul alone was not enough, immortal power also needed to transform into Dao power. Of course, a complete transformation with just one sacrifice was clearly impossible. But it still caused your immortal power to surge significantly, and the divine palace of the Immortal Emperor's 8th realm successfully condensed into form. Your realm achieved another breakthrough. Cultivation becomes increasingly difficult the further one progresses. Just one Tianao Immortal Emperor allowed you to condense a complete divine palace, which was indeed beneficial. His half-step Immortal Exalted realm was not cultivated in vain. It saved you countless years of arduous cultivation. The divine palace governs luck. After condensing, your luck greatly increased. Luck is equivalent to a person's fortune, closely tied to their individual destiny. Besides greatly increasing a person's luck, the divine palace can also continuously collect luck. Those veteran immortal emperors, over years and months, possess truly terrifying luck. If someone were to target them, disaster might strike before they even made a move. After the sacrifice concluded, the great existence in the ethereal realm sent you encouraging thoughts. The general meaning was to keep up the good work, sacrifice a few more times, and the child of extinction would be yours. You calculated carefully, realizing that you had unknowingly sacrificed almost half of the Emperor's stars. Other demon stars were also taking action. It was unknown how many Emperor stars remained now. If there were fewer than 5 Emperor stars, the child of extinction would be born. You examined the memories of Tianao Immortal Emperor. His memories indeed contained many traces of Emperor stars. Most of them were Emperor stars you had already sacrificed, or the two you were already familiar with, Xiaoshu and Hu Yunjiang. Besides these, there were 3 other Emperor stars you hadn't known about previously. If these 3, along with Xiaoshu and Hu Yunjiang, were sacrificed, you felt that the child of extinction would likely descend. And it would most likely descend upon you. The child of extinction possesses 3 powerful characteristics. First, immortality, it is difficult to kill them below the Immortal Emperor realm. Second, world destruction, they can rapidly increase their cultivation by destroying worlds. Third, destruction, as the child of extinction, they master the Tao principles of destruction at an extremely fast pace. With these 3 powerful characteristics, the child of extinction can quickly achieve a breakthrough to the Immortal Emperor realm. The epic child also possesses 3 powerful characteristics, and except for the first, the other 2 are almost completely opposite to those of the child of extinction. He relies on delaying world destruction to increase his cultivation. He masters the Tao principles of creation at an extremely fast pace. Due to their opposing characteristics, the 2 are almost locked in an unending struggle. If one is strong, the other will certainly be unable to achieve a breakthrough to the Immortal Emperor realm. Next, if you were to rely on arduous cultivation to transform your immortal power, it would likely take at least several decades. The speed would probably not even be as fast as condensing a Tao soul. Because when condensing a Tao soul, you also had the assistance of the myriad spirits' God-forging talent. For immortal power transformation, you could only rely on devouring other resources. Naturally, this would be more time-consuming. To achieve an early breakthrough, you still needed to sacrifice. You felt you were almost forming a path dependency. Having sacrificed so many Emperor stars, you wondered what the existence in the ethereal realm should use to repay you. The feedback after the sacrifice goes without saying, there must be other invisible benefits that the existence in the ethereal realm took. You hoped that when the time came, it would be sensible and spit them out for you. You now knew the locations of 5 Emperor stars in total. You sensed Xiao Shu's location and found that he was in a special space, his strength greatly increased. If this continued, he would sooner or later discover that the number of his other selves was incorrect. It seemed he couldn't be allowed to remain for too long. Just as you were about to make a move on Xiao Shu, someone suddenly attacked. It was a half-step Immortal Exalted. He had been lurking in the Time Tower, and after approaching Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu, he suddenly launched his attack. However, as soon as he made a move, he was discovered by Immortal Venerable Guangyan, who suppressed him. Immortal Venerable Guangyan extracted a demon seed from this person's body. You saw this demon seed through Immortal King Xiao Shu's vision, and your expression subtly changed. This seemed to be the work of the strongest Devil Star, Divine Intent Demon Lord, from Tianao Immortal Emperor's memories of his previous life. Tianao Immortal Emperor died by his hand in the previous life. And this demon seed was precisely a means of control condensed from Divine Intent Demon Lord's renowned cultivation technique, Divine Intent Demon Seed Great Law. With this Divine Intent Demon Seed technique, he was truly omnipresent. Over half of the Emperor stars in the previous life fell by his hand. Logically, Immortal Venerables would not easily intervene in the struggle between demon stars and Emperor stars. But there are always some who cannot suppress their ambition and want to take a gamble. Divine Intent Demon Lord is at the Immortal Venerable Second Realm. With his strength, he only has a 50% chance of surviving the epic calamity, which might be why he chose to intervene. Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu is the disciple of Jade Universe Celestial Venerable, and when he was attacked by Divine Intent Demon Lord in the Time Tower, Immortal Venerable Guangyan immediately informed Jade Universe Celestial Venerable about the matter. Upon receiving this news, Jade Universe Celestial Venerable was furious. If it were a struggle between peers, that would be one thing, but for an Immortal Venerable to attack a junior was simply shameless. What angered him most was that Divine Intent Demon Lord had promised him he wouldn't harm his disciple. He didn't expect him to be unable to restrain himself so quickly. Jade Universe Celestial Venerable took Xiao Shu and went to confront him. Divine Intent Demon Lord immediately denied it, saying someone had framed him. Good, 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 you dare to do it but not admit it, huh? Jade Universe Celestial Venerable directly attacked Divine Intent Demon Lord, wanting to teach him a lesson. So what if I did it? Old man Jade Universe, can you protect him forever? Seeing Jade Universe Celestial Venerable make a move, Divine Intent Demon Lord also stopped pretending. He just wanted to sacrifice Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu. He was also cornered and had no choice. Nearly half of the Emperor stars had been sacrificed by Lu Changsheng. If he didn't act ruthlessly, he wouldn't even get a share. For him, a dignified Immortal Venerable, to condescend to be a demon star and be pushed to this extent, was truly unprecedented. According to the memories of the Emperor stars he sacrificed, he was clearly the strongest Devil Star in the previous life. That Lu Changsheng, who appeared out of nowhere, had almost stolen all his business. Ultimately, Jade Universe Celestial Venerable was still stronger than Divine Intent Demon Lord. He forced him to make a great Tao oath that he would not attack Xiao Shu in the future. You couldn't help but sigh at how protective Jade Universe Celestial Venerable truly was. But that's good too. If he hadn't acted, then you would have had to do it yourself. Xiao Shu is your other self. If he were sacrificed by others, your innate spirit would never be complete. 526. Kangmeng Immortal Venerable, the Scapegoat Demon Venerable Shenyi. Emperor Godstone, Zhaotian Domain. After the commotion, Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu continued to cultivate diligently in the Time Tower. After you defeated Hongjun Immortal Exalted and sacrificed Tianao Immortal Emperor, you sent your Tao body out to rebuild the Reincarnation Heavenly Palace. The relationship between the reincarnation heavenly palace and you is no secret in the eyes of immortal venerables, a little investigation can reveal it. Previously, due to Hongjun, the reincarnation heavenly palace was temporarily hidden by you. Now, it's time to restart it. You have a great need for karma and faith, so the reincarnation heavenly palace is indispensable. If Hongjun Immortal Exalted wants to target your reincarnation heavenly palace, then you will target his great desolation. It's all about mutual harm. Anyway, with your current strength, you don't need to fear him. Hongjun should also be aware of the stakes and won't act rashly. With the rebuilding of the reincarnation heavenly palace, many reincarnators once again saw the light of day. Many worlds under the reincarnation heavenly palace, ever since its disappearance, were either controlled by local forces or occupied by external forces. It will take some effort to reclaim them. Meanwhile, your main body turned its attention to the Emperor's seat in Tianhao Immortal Emperor's memories. Fei Peng was originally one of Tianhao's targets, but you sacrificed him one step ahead. Xiao Shu and Hu Yunzheng are difficult to target for now, as both are cultivating in the Time Tower. The other three are Jitu Xing, Mao Ri Xing, and Gui Jin Xing. Tianhao Immortal Emperor only knew the specific identity of Jitu Xing. He was the sword son of the Divine Sword sect on the Kangmeng continent of the Seventh Heaven. As for the other two, he didn't know their origins, only having met them in the previous epoch. Then let's capture this Jitu Xing first, to avoid any further complications. Your main body dispatched another Dao body to the Kangmeng continent of the Seventh Heaven. The Kangmeng continent has an immortal venerable presiding over it, but the Divine Sword sect does not. The strongest Grand Elder of the Divine Sword sect was only a half-step Immortal Exalted. When your Dao body arrived at the Divine Sword sect, a sweep of divine thought located the Sword Son, and then, in front of his Grand Elder, he was captured. Your actions clearly showed no regard for the Divine Sword sect. The Grand Elder of the Divine Sword sect immediately went to complain to Immortal Kangmeng. The Dao companion of one of Immortal Kangmeng's disciples came from the Divine Sword sect, so they were somewhat related. Not long after you left, Divine Intent Demon Lord also arrived here. What? Your Sword Son was captured? He had finally obtained this information, but he didn't expect someone else to get there first. Divine Intent Demon Lord was furious. He had just been beaten by Jade Universe Celestial Venerable, and now the duck he had in hand flew away at the last second. He suddenly wondered if his path as a demon star was truly correct. Just as Divine Intent Demon Lord was about to leave, a cold snort suddenly came from the sky. Divine Intent, where did you abduct the Emperor seat of my Kangmeng continent? Divine Intent Demon Lord looked up and saw that Immortal Kangmeng had arrived with the Grand Elder of the Divine Sword sect. It wasn't me, it has nothing to do with me, don't make false accusations. Divine Intent Demon Lord quickly denied it 3 times. Immortal Kangmeng, however, didn't believe him at all, and instead said coldly, you said before that you didn't lay a hand on Jade Universe Celestial Venerable's disciple, but what happened? Don't try to argue in front of me. With that, Immortal Kangmeng took out the Kangmeng Holy Sword, vowing to teach Divine Intent Demon Lord a lesson. The two quickly started fighting, which ended with Divine Intent Demon Lord fleeing. After being beaten twice in a row by 2 immortal venerables, Divine Intent Demon Lord returned and smashed everything in his immortal cave in a fit of rage. At this moment, his subordinates suddenly brought him good news, saying that they had discovered the whereabouts of an Emperor Godstone. Divine Intent Demon Lord's expression finally improved a little. On the other side, you had already sacrificed Jitu Xing. Jitu Xing's strength was too low, only at the Immortal Lord realm. After the sacrifice, it only solidified your Emperor's seat phantom by 30%, without achieving a breakthrough. However, it saved you a lot of diligent cultivation. In the previous epoch, at this point in time, this Jitu Xing was already about to be sacrificed by Divine Intent Demon Lord. Did you get ahead of Divine Intent Demon Lord? So what if you did? This Divine Intent Demon Lord's strength isn't much higher than Hongjun Immortal Exalted's. You're not afraid of him coveting you. However, in Jitu Xing's memory, you discovered news of a major treasure. In the previous epoch, at this point in time, just as Divine Intent Demon Lord was about to sacrifice him, his subordinate reported to him that they had found traces of an Emperor Godstone. The Emperor Godstone is a type of innate strange object, born from the creation of heaven and earth. Its greatest use is to strengthen the ancestral court. That's right, even if all ancestral court buildings are condensed, it can still be strengthened. Therefore, it is also useful for immortal venerables. There were many Emperor God stones at the beginning of creation, but now it is the end of an epoch, and most of them have been consumed, making them even rarer than innate supreme treasures. You sacrifice an Emperor seed to strengthen your cultivation, so since this Emperor God stone has the same effect, you certainly cannot miss it. According to Ji Zing's memory from before his death in the previous epoch, this Emperor God stone seems to be related to the Feng family of the Zhou Tian domain in another region. Currently, Divine Intent Immortal Venerable is most likely also heading there. Regardless of whether you can get it, go and see first. You sent a Dao body and Wu Tuo together. 3 days later, the two arrived at the Zhou Tian domain. The Zhou Tian domain is not an entire continent, but is composed of countless stars. Looking from afar, the Zhou Tian domain resembles a sea of stars. The Feng family, as one of the top-ranked long-lived families in the Zhou Tian domain, naturally occupied a prime location. The headquarters of the Zhou family is on Feng God Star. This star was originally made of immortal stone and was a symbol of the Feng family's power. But now, Feng God Star is a mess, with ruins everywhere. Your expression changed slightly, and you grabbed a few experts to ask, only to find out that Divine Intent Demon Lord had arrived earlier, seemingly looking for something, and had turned Feng God Star upside down. No need to think, you knew Divine Intent Demon Lord must be looking for the Emperor God Stone. He was already gone, and it was unknown if he had found the Emperor God Stone. You came to the Feng family headquarters and told them not to be afraid, that you were not a demon cultivator and would not harm them. Seeing that the Feng family members were unwilling to cooperate, you had no choice but to search their souls. Then you learned that the Feng family's Emperor God Stone had already been taken by Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted. Divine Intent Demon Lord didn't believe it and specifically searched again, but still found nothing. Before he left, he roared, "Why am I always a step too slow?" After that, he left. After obtaining the desired information, you packed up and took away Feng God Star, which was made of immortal stone. Feng God Star was the Feng family's greatest wealth. Several family elders of the Feng family knelt before you, weeping bitterly. "Didn't you say you wouldn't harm us?" You said, "That's right, I said people, not Feng God Star." 527. Dragon King Temple, the 3-year period has come to an end. The evil dragon's wrath, the gods are to blame again. Upon hearing this, everyone cried even louder. You said you had done your utmost and if they didn't make way, you would send them on their way. After some intimidation, they finally retreated. You had never encountered a planet made of immortal stone before. You snatched this Feng God Star entirely because the Feng family showed off. If they hadn't shown off, you wouldn't have snatched it. However, the Emperor God Stone being snatched by Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted was a bit tricky. With your current strength, it was almost impossible to snatch something from an Immortal Venerable. Nevertheless, you still held a 1 in 10,000 hope and went to Evil Dragon Domain to inquire. What if Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted gave the item to his descendants? Soon after, you arrived at Evil Dragon Domain. Evil Dragon Domain had countless races, and the Dragon Clan was originally just one of them, but after Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted appeared, it became the top race in Evil Dragon Domain overnight. Even this dimension was renamed Evil Dragon Domain. You also saw Dragon King temples in many places, all used to worship Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted. You walked into one of the Dragon King temples. On the stone platform directly in front, there was a stone statue with a dragon head and a human body. His lips were slightly curved, giving him a wicked charm. He didn't look like a proper dragon. It was said that Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted loved to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger everywhere, and often changed identities to prank others, and his signature move was a crooked smile, showing a wicked charm. Your Dao soul power swept across the entire Evil Dragon Domain. You discovered that Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted was actually serving as a temple priest in a Dragon King temple. Was he worshipping himself? You frowned slightly, feeling that things were not that simple. That place was human race territory, and many common people did not believe in gods. Moreover, there had been a drought for months, and many people wanted to tear down the Dragon King temple. You knew it was probably Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted's twisted sense of humor acting up again, wanting to prank everyone. The Emperor God Stone was worn by him as an ornament, hanging around his neck. Wasn't this tempting you to commit a crime? You brought Wu Tuo and went to the temple where Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted was staying. Local officials were leading the common people in burning incense and praying for rain. You controlled a scholar, who stepped forward and pushed over the offering table, telling everyone that he had a way to make it rain. The temple priest, disguised as evil dragon Immortal Exalted, sneered. Even the Dragon King can't do it, can you? The scholar said. Of course I can. If you don't believe me, I'll bet my life on the ornament around his neck. Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted readily agreed. But the scholar then said that for fairness, the ornament should first be kept by others. As he spoke, a person of considerable prestige stepped forward and offered to keep it. Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted instantly saw what these two mortals wanted to do. They merely thought his ornament was a valuable treasure and wanted to secretly replace it. But these fellows weren't even Earth Immortal, how could they escape his grasp? Without much thought, he handed over the ornament. Then, the scholar found a branch and began to wave it around in a showy manner. At this moment, dark clouds gathered in the sky, with lightning and thunder, truly looking as if it was about to rain. This was actually Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted secretly manipulating it. As the saying goes, whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. He enjoyed letting these mortals swell with pride first, then panic, and then be terrified upon learning his true identity. Joy appeared on everyone's faces. 528. The monkey was caught, the gods had a vicious plan. Enlightened Xiaoshu, the Buddha from the East. What will you use to lure him out? Naturally, your close relatives and friends. He didn't find out who your close relatives and friends were. But he did find out that Sun Wukong of Mozang Heaven had his strength mysteriously increased. He traced back history and found that it was indeed you who secretly enhanced his strength. So, this Sun Wukong must be very important to you. He then found Sun Wukong, who was leisurely enjoying himself in the Boundary Sea, captured him, and sent someone to deliver a message to you, asking you to come out and meet him. If you didn't, he would kill him. You only replied with one word, scram. You enhanced the monkey's strength specifically to resolve the karma from the previous simulation. Divine Intent Demon Lord actually wanted to threaten you with Sun Wukong, how ridiculous. Divine Intent Demon Lord's face turned ashen when he saw that word. Good, good, good. Since you won't give him face, then he can't be blamed. He would publicly execute the monkey outside the Tianwu Divine Hall. On the day of the execution, you still showed no reaction. Actually, you could have saved the monkey. But doing so would only tell others that you have a weakness, wouldn't it? You are a demon star, and you will face many more crises in the future. Exposing a weakness is definitely not something you can do. However, it's not as if you had no way to save him. You still had many nails left on the primordial continent, so you let them persuade Immortal Exalted Hongjun. The monkey is also from the primordial lineage, he can't just sit by and do nothing. Outside the Tianwu Divine Hall, Divine Intent Demon Lord took out a dagger, preparing to give the monkey 3 cuts and 6 holes. At this moment, Immortal Exalted Hongjun appeared. He said that Sun Wukong was a member of the primordial lineage and asked Divine Intent Demon Lord to show mercy. Divine Intent Demon Lord saw that Hongjun had only recently had his breakthrough to Immortal Venerable and did not intend to do him this favor. Then, the two of them started fighting. Although Hongjun had just had his breakthrough, with the jade plate of fortune in hand, he still beat Divine Intent Demon Lord until he was covered in dirt. Divine Intent Demon Lord cried out in exasperation, saying that he couldn't live like this anymore. How could every Immortal Venerable beat him? He was at Immortal Venerable 2nd realm, not Immortal Venerable 1st realm. It was understandable for Jade Universe Celestial Venerable and Evil Dragon Immortal Exalted to bully him, but now even a newly breakthrough Hongjun could bully him. This is truly absurd. As Divine Intent Demon Lord left, Immortal Exalted Hongjun took Sun Wukong back to the 7th Heaven's primordial continent. This farce thus dissipated into nothingness. And you, on the other hand, began to cultivate your strength using the Emperor God Stone. It must be said that this Emperor God Stone is indeed powerful. The speed at which you condensed the ancestral court buildings increased by at least 5 or 6 times. Now, if you relied on yourself to condense the 9th realm Emperor seat, it would take at most about 4 years. 3 years passed in a flash. Your Emperor seat was already mostly condensed. The Emperor seat governs comprehension ability. If it is successfully condensed, your comprehension ability will greatly increase. For most immortal emperors, if they don't have an Emperor seat, it's basically difficult to comprehend even the simplest Tao principles. Therefore, the importance of the Emperor seat is self-evident. However, at this moment, there was a stir on Immortal Emperor Xiaoshu's side. After these past few years of cultivating in the Time Tower, he had already reached Immortal Emperor's 6th realm. He had also enlightened over 1,000,000 of his other selves. But as his realm grew higher and he enlightened more of his other selves, he increasingly discovered that the other selves he enlightened seemed to be somewhat off. They were all low in cultivation, as if they were the ones left over after being picked through. He had never encountered such a situation in his previous life. At first, he could still comfort himself by calling it a coincidence. But now, he had enlightened over 1,000,000, and it was still the same. He couldn't help but suspect whether someone had tampered with his other selves. Just as he was hesitating whether to tell Jade Universe Celestial Venerable, you, who had discovered the anomaly, made your move. You directly and forcibly enlightened him. After condensing your Tao soul, you already had the ability to enlighten him. It was only out of fear of alerting the enemy and attracting the attention of Jade Universe Celestial Venerable that you hadn't done so. After all, Jade Universe Celestial Venerable was an immortal venerable who cultivated from an innate heavenly god when the world was created. His strength far surpassed that of ordinary immortal venerables. You didn't want to provoke him too early. In the previous simulation, you died because he discovered that you were Xiao Shu's other self. Therefore, you had to act cautiously. But now, you clearly couldn't hide any longer. Since Xiao Shu discovered the anomaly, he definitely couldn't be allowed to live. Otherwise, if he reported it, you would definitely die too. Over the years, you had also made ample preparations for enlightening Xiao Shu. Hua Tian magic had already been deduced by you to the immortal venerable level. Not only could it enlighten his other self, without anyone knowing, but its concealment was also stronger. However, you weren't sure if it could escape Jade Universe Celestial Venerable's perception. At this point, you could only take it one step at a time. After you enlightened Immortal King Xiao Shu, everything remained normal for several months. Currently, Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu is still cultivating in the Time Tower. It seems that there's nothing unusual detected by Immortal Venerable Guang Yin. After this, you could only hope that Jade Universe Celestial Venerable wouldn't come knocking so soon to find his beloved disciple. During these few months, you also checked Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu's past life memories. In his previous life, he did not perish at the hands of the Demon Star, but rather died at the hands of the Emperor Star. That Emperor Star was located in limitless heaven of the 8th heaven and was named Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence. He seemed to be born in response to a calamity, and at birth, Buddha light filled the sky, illuminating the past, future, and the 10 directions of all heavens. Moreover, he already had golden immortal cultivation at birth. Afterward, it was even more terrifying, he became an immortal lord in just 100 years. Then, in over 10,000 years, he broke through the 2 great realms of Immortal King and Immortal Emperor, and later attained the Tao of Immortal Venerable. Many people said that he was the reincarnation of a Buddhist mighty figure. According to the timeline, he had just had his breakthrough to Immortal Venerable at this time. He was still in seclusion, stabilizing his realm. When he emerged from seclusion tens of thousands of years later, he was already at Immortal Venerable 5th realm. Afterward, he revealed the heavenly Buddha star fate, sweeping everything before him and plundering the star fates of other emperor stars. As for whether he became the epic child, Immortal King Xiao Shu did not witness that scene. But according to his conjecture, the epic child would most likely be this person. If such a terrifying person couldn't become the epic child, who else would be qualified? Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu's only hope was to have his breakthrough to Immortal Venerable in this life. Perhaps then he would still have a chance to contend with him. Limitless Heaven, Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence. It seems he's another formidable character. And a formidable character related to Buddhism at that. You don't know if he's the reincarnation of a mighty figure. But he has already had his breakthrough to Immortal Venerable. Sacrificing Tian Hao, a half-step Immortal Exalted, before allowed you to have a minor realm breakthrough. If you were to sacrifice Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence, the reward would definitely be exceptionally generous, wouldn't it? 529. Mahavairocana Temple, The Secret of Rahu. Break through the 9th realm of the Immortal Emperor and complete the Heavenly Palace. However, thoughts are just thoughts. If he truly wanted to sacrifice him, the difficulty would still be very high. This Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence is not a lone wolf, he hails from the great Sun Tathagata Temple, a Buddhist holy land in limitless heaven. According to Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu's memories, there are several Buddha reverences inside, not to mention that they are everywhere. Among them, the strongest, great sun world-honored one, even surpasses Jade Universe Celestial Venerable. To deal with Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence, one must first overcome the Great Sun Tathagata Temple. Besides Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence, you also discovered a very interesting matter in Immortal Emperor Xiaoshu's memories. That is, Rahu from the primordial domain did not die, he was resurrected a few years before Immortal King Xiaoshu's death. With the help of an otherworldly immortal exalted, he even destroyed the primordial continent. In Immortal Emperor Xiaoshu's memories, Hongjun had not yet achieved the Immortal Venerable realm at that time and could only watch all of this unfold. Now, everything is vastly different. It is unknown whether Rahu can still be resurrected and destroy the primordial domain. Speaking of destroying the primordial domain, you also thought of the great battle between Immortal Venerable Asura and Mystic Sound Immortal Venerable. It was the aftermath of these two Immortal Venerables' battle that caused the primordial domain to be destroyed in one fell swoop. This led to many experts from the primordial domain reincarnating into the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It is unknown whether the battle between these two is related to Rahu. Also, that immortal king named Rahu, whom you specifically sent people to search for, has recently disappeared without a trace, which is very strange. It is unknown whether he is related to Rahu in the primordial domain. Soon, half a year passed. Wu Tian demon ancestor, who was in the reincarnation heavenly palace, suddenly disappeared mysteriously on this day. Your Dao body's investigation suggests that an immortal venerable may have taken him. After the reincarnation heavenly palace conquered the 10 directions land and released Wu Tian, he is still only at the immortal lord realm. To an immortal venerable, he is completely an ant. Why would an immortal venerable abduct him? Furthermore, the immortal venerable who abducted him was not weak in strength and did not leave you with more clues. You vaguely feel that this matter is not simple. Could it be that this Wu Tian is an incarnation of a certain immortal venerable? This possibility is not small. However, with the current strength of the reincarnation heavenly palace, there is no difference whether there is one less Wu Tian or one more Wu Tian, so you did not spend too much effort on this matter. At the same time, Divine Intent Demon Lord was approached by a mysterious immortal venerable, who asked for his help to resurrect an old friend. This matter is related to the primordial domain. Once Divine Intent Demon Lord agrees, he will be in an eternal struggle with the primordial lineage. The primordial lineage now has an immortal venerable overseeing it. Therefore, Divine Intent Demon Lord was very hesitant. The mysterious immortal venerable offered an irresistible condition, saying that after the matter was accomplished, he could help him deal with the strongest devil star Lu Chengsheng together. Divine Intent Demon Lord wants to become the child of extinction, and you are clearly an obstacle he must overcome. Divine Intent Demon Lord was moved by the price he offered and agreed. Of course, completing this resurrection still requires some preparation time. Soon, another half a year passed. You successfully condensed the Emperor seat. You have broken through to the 9th realm of Immortal Emperor. Your immortal power has greatly increased. The Emperor seat governs comprehension ability, and your comprehension ability has greatly increased. Long ago, your comprehension ability reached the Immortal Venerable level. Afterward, you consumed celestial Chong liquid, condensed your Tao soul, and now you have cultivated the Emperor seat. Your basic comprehension ability is astonishing even among immortal venerables. You estimate that your comprehension ability can at least rival a 6th level immortal venerable expert. 530. Luo who is resurrected, the evil star. Asura immortal venerable, the fisherman benefits. If you condense all the buildings, even without the Emperor God Stone, your immortal power will likely transform automatically. No, to be precise, your immortal power will transform when you condense halfway. Do you want to condense the complete heavenly court? You pondered repeatedly, and finally decided, do it. At a normal pace, you would still need 50 to 60 years for your immortal power to transform. However, condensing other buildings would not slow down this process. It might even accelerate it. Given that, what is there to hesitate about? Just as you were diligently cultivating, the primordial domain of the 7th heaven was suddenly attacked by Divine Intent Demon Lord. Immortal Venerable Hongjun coldly snorted, it seems the last encounter didn't teach you a lesson. Quote. After speaking, he and Divine Intent Demon Lord went to the void realm outside the domain for a great battle. No sooner had Immortal Venerable Hongjun left than a mysterious person shrouded in a black robe, leading a dozen or so individuals, arrived at the primordial domain. Among these dozen or so individuals, some were strong and some were weak. The highest realm was half-step immortal exalted, while the lowest was only a supreme immortal. Most importantly, Wu Tian demon ancestor and immortal King Luo who were also among them. The black-robed mysterious person murmured, "You were killed by the people of the ancient heavenly court, and your 3 souls, 6 spirits, flesh, and blood were scattered everywhere. Now that the epic is nearing its end, it's time for you to be resurrected." With that, these dozen or so individuals were forcibly fused together by the black-robed person, forming a flesh and blood monster. The flesh and blood monster emitted a powerful aura, stepped into the primordial domain, and devoured all living beings it encountered. This flesh and blood monster was not weak even among half-step immortal exalted, and the high-ranking officials of the primordial domain were utterly unable to resist. They urgently called upon old ancestor Hongjun. However, old ancestor Hongjun was firmly entangled by Divine Intent Demon Lord, who gave him no chance to return. Divine Intent Demon Lord laughed loudly, "Old man Hongjun, it's useless even if you go back. Demon Lord Luo who is destined to be resurrected today." Immortal Venerable Hongjun sighed, seemingly not surprised by this. It seemed this day would come sooner or later. The other immortal venerables in the 7th heaven also quickly noticed the commotion here. But no one was willing to intervene. Your Dao body also quickly arrived here. Of course, you were here to watch the show. This flesh and blood monster had the aura of Wu Tian demon ancestor, you didn't know its origin. When you saw it pull out a blood-colored long spear emanating an endless aura of slaughter, you finally understood its identity. Demon ancestor Luo Hu, because that blood-colored long spear was precisely the innate supreme treasure, the god-slaying spear. This was demon ancestor Luo Hu's signature immortal artifact, which disappeared after Luo Hu's death. That Wu Tian was connected to demon ancestor Luo Hu was quite unexpected for you. Wu Tian's ability to devour Buddha power and rapidly increase his strength was already extremely strange. If he was connected to demon ancestor Luo Hu, this characteristic would seem extremely normal. Because demon ancestor Luo Hu was an innate god and demon born when the primordial domain was first opened. The demonic path he founded opposed Hongjun's Xuanmen, and he almost became a saint through the demonic path. If he hadn't been ganged up on by Hongjun and a group of top-tier saints, the first saint of the primordial domain might have changed hands. However, even saints in the primordial domain only corresponded to immortal kings of later generations. Luo Hu, who fell before becoming a saint, is now a half-step immortal exalted, which is clearly a bit abnormal. Moreover, as he continuously devoured the living beings of the primordial domain, his aura was still rising, showing a strong potential to break through to immortal venerable. His background and origin are probably not as simple as you imagined. Could he be the reincarnation of some important figure from the Chaos Realm? You then turned your gaze to the black-robed person, he was the mastermind behind everything. You don't know what he intends to do today. According to Xiao Shu's memory, Luo Hu's resurrection and the destruction of the primordial domain would happen nearly 100,000 years later. Is he trying to advance the destruction of the primordial domain to now? But why would he do that? Is he trying to make Luo Hu break through to immortal venerable through this method? You adhere to the principle of keeping a low profile. No matter what he intends to do, you have no intention of intervening. Nor do you wish to make an enemy of him. However, some matters are clearly not up to you. When the primordial domain was mostly destroyed, a strong starlight gathered above Luo Hu's head. This starlight also contained a large amount of resentful qi. He was actually the evil demon star among the emperor stars. Since Luo Hu was an emperor star, you had no choice but to act. Such a powerful emperor star, if he were to break through to immortal venerable and then be sacrificed by you, it would save you countless years of arduous cultivation. You felt that your immortal power's transformation and the completion of the heavenly court were within reach. When Luo Hu destroyed the entire primordial domain, his aura reached a critical point, and he began his breakthrough to immortal venerable. This process would last for a long time. It wouldn't be a breakthrough overnight. The black-robed person also flicked his sleeve, preparing to take Luo Hu away. Just then, Wu Tuo made his move. Wu Tuo directly attacked the mysterious black-robed person. To suppress Luo Hu for you, gaining time. Many immortal venerables watching the show didn't expect there to be another master. And it was you, the strongest devil star. It seemed that immortal venerable Wu Tuo was even willing to take risks for you. One must know that immortal venerables generally do not easily interfere with matters of emperor stars and demon stars. Is immortal venerable Wu Tuo also going all out to protect you, his legacy holder? What they didn't know was that immortal venerable Wu Tuo was actually your true spirit clone. If he were an independent existence, he might have run off somewhere by now. Previously, at the 7th realm of Immortal Emperor, you were already able to fight top-tier half-step immortal exalted like Hong Jun. Now, at the 9th realm of Immortal Emperor, and having condensed a Tao soul, your strength is even more extraordinary. A half-step immortal exalted like Luo Hu, who was still in the midst of his breakthrough, was no match for you. You suppressed him in just 2 or 3 moves. Seeing Luo Hu suppressed by you, the black-robed person immediately became anxious. His black robe tore, revealing his true form, a gigantic Asura emperor. It was precisely the Asura Immortal Venerable from the Asura domain. You had already guessed this in your heart, as in Xiaoshu's memory, it was also Asura Immortal Venerable who resurrected Luo Hu in the future, so you were not surprised by this. However, some Immortal Venerables were greatly surprised. Because Asura Immortal Venerable was an otherworldly immortal exalted, and he dared to cause trouble in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, he was truly audacious. After Asura Immortal Venerable revealed his true form, he began to overwhelm Wu Tuo. But as he approached you, another powerful aura appeared. The newcomer was precisely the innate goddess of the 8th heaven, Mystic Sound Immortal Venerable. The enmity between the two spanned hundreds of billions of years. Upon sensing Asura Immortal Venerable's aura, Mystic Sound Immortal Venerable immediately rushed towards this place. Mystic Sound, it's you again. Seeing Mystic Sound Immortal Venerable blocking his way, Asura Immortal Venerable was furious. This is the 9 heavens and 10 earths, you are not welcome here. Mystic Sound Immortal Venerable, however, was extremely calm. The two quickly began to fight. And you, taking advantage of the gap in their battle, swiftly left the scene with Luo Hu. Today was a great harvest. 531. Sacrifice the Immortal Lord, the immortal power transforms. The world-destroying halo, the Shura Blood Sea. You abducted demon ancestor Luo Hu to the Tianwu Divine Hall. However, you did not immediately sacrifice him. He is still in the midst of his breakthrough. Once he breaks through to Immortal Venerable, the benefits from sacrificing him will be even greater. Of course, Luo Hu is no fool. He is also desperately resisting. But under the combined suppression of you and Wu Tuo, his resistance could not even cause a ripple. Meanwhile, Asura Immortal Venerable and Mystic Sound Immortal Venerable battled for 3 days and 3 nights before finally concluding. After the battle, Asura Immortal Venerable immediately arrived outside the Tianwu Divine Hall, demanding that you release him. You said there was no problem, and that you would release Luo Hu once he broke through to Immortal Venerable. Asura Immortal Venerable was infuriated. If he waited for Luo Hu to break through to Immortal Venerable, wouldn't he have already been sacrificed by you? By then, not even his ashes would remain. Divine Intent Demon Lord also came to persuade you, saying that demon ancestor Luo Hu was actually a wisp of demonic thought from a prehistoric powerhouse who had secretly crossed over, and if you sacrificed him, when that prehistoric powerhouse descended, no one would be able to save you. You said that he needn't worry about it, no matter what his background, once he was in your hands, there was no reason to hand him over. Seeing that you were unyielding, Asura Immortal Venerable furiously reduced the already ruined Tianwu domain to complete dust. Even Wu City was destroyed in an instant. However, you did not care. Wu City was originally built because of the legacy of the Heavenly Witch Immortal Lord. After you obtained the Heavenly Witch Immortal Lord's legacy, Wu City gradually became sparsely populated. As for the Tianwu domain, it had long since become a ruin, so let it be destroyed. As long as the Tianwu Divine Hall remained unharmed, that was all that mattered. 3 years passed like this, and demon ancestor Luo Hu finally completed his breakthrough. Before he could even react, you threw him into the Doomsday Altar. This was your first time sacrificing an Imperial Star at the Immortal Venerable Realm. You wondered what rewards you would receive. You were most interested in the Child of Extinction, wondering if you could obtain it. The great existence in the ethereal realm descended once again. After descending, he was a little surprised, not expecting that you, who had not yet broke through to Immortal Venerable, had already managed to arrange for an Imperial Star at the Immortal Venerable Realm. Such a situation was extremely rare in the past few epochs. Truly worthy of being the one he favored. This time, the ethereal existence allowed you to choose your own reward. He conveyed his thoughts, saying that the reward was exceptionally generous and urged you to choose carefully. Of course, you chose cultivation. You were about to break through to Immortal Venerable, what else would you choose if not cultivation? The ethereal existence, as you wish. Soon, a surge of cultivation, far more ferocious than any before, poured down. The phantom of the heavenly court within your body continuously solidified. Your immortal power rapidly grew stronger. Half an hour later, out of the 27 ancestral court buildings within your body, 9 had already condensed, and the remaining 18 were largely solidified. And your immortal power also reached a certain limit, beginning its transformation. Generally speaking, this transformation process is not fast. But with the blessing of a mysterious power, it rapidly transformed. In less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, all of it transformed into Tao power. Your strength greatly increased once again. 25 of the ancestral court buildings within your body had also condensed, leaving only 2 more to completely form the complete heavenly court. Only then did the feedback power slowly deplete. Tao power is the power used by immortal venerables. Even a single wisp possesses the power to destroy the heavens and earth. It is precisely because of the existence of Tao power that it is almost impossible to fight across realms below immortal venerable. After the sacrifice ended, the ethereal existence, unusually, did not leave this time. He told you that as long as you break through to immortal venerable, you would immediately become the child of extinction. You curiously asked, can't I now? If you became the child of extinction earlier, you would be able to break through to immortal venerable faster. He said it wasn't impossible now, but you could currently only withstand a maximum of 7 layers of the extinction aura. Once you break through to immortal venerable, you would be able to withstand 9 layers. At that time, the feedback from destroying worlds would be even greater. Moreover, the bestowal of this extinction aura is a one-time event. If you were given 7 layers now, it would forever remain only 7 layers. It would only dissipate once you break through to Immortal Emperor. Information regarding the child of extinction and epic child is top secret. You were unaware before that there were so many intricacies involved. Since that's the case, then you'll break through to Immortal Venerable first. Currently, your Tao power and Tao soul are both complete. Only the complete innate spirit and Tao principles are missing. In terms of realm, the ancestral court is still missing the last 2 buildings. That won't take long. It's just that you don't know what miraculous effects will occur once the complete ancestral court is formed. Time flew by, and soon you condensed the 26th ancestral court building. Just then, in the Time Tower, Hu Yunjiang, the disciple of Yaoqi Jade Mother, suddenly found Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu, whom you had enlightened. She said she knew the whereabouts of an imperial star and asked Xiao Shu if he was interested. Xiao Shu asked suspiciously, such a good thing, and you're willing to share it with me? Hu Yunjiang coughed and said, this, of course, it's because it's a bit difficult. Xiao Shu told her to speak directly, no need to beat around the bush. Hu Yunjiang said, that imperial star is the son of Asura Immortal Venerable. She's not confident going alone, so she wanted to pull Xiao Shu in. Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu shook his head and told her to find someone else. Asura Immortal Venerable was not to be trifled with, it would be easy to lose one's life if things went wrong. Hu Yunjiang, however, persisted, Asura Immortal Venerable is not in the Asura domain right now, we can definitely give it a try. At that time, the 2 of them would split the star destiny equally. Immortal Emperor Xiao Shu considered it repeatedly before finally agreeing. Subsequently, the 2 left the Time Tower and headed to the Asura domain. On the other side, your Tao body also set off for the Asura domain. Hu Yunjiang wanted to obtain the star destiny of the son of Asura, unaware that you wanted to obtain her star destiny as well. The Asura domain was originally the stronghold of the Asura race. The Asuras are warlike, so the Asura domain is exceptionally dangerous. If Hu Yunjiang accidentally died inside, wouldn't that be quite reasonable? Your Tao body's cultivation was profound, so it arrived in the Asura domain ahead of time. Asura Immortal Venerable was indeed not present, having gone somewhere unknown. Asura Immortal Venerable had over 30,000 direct bloodline descendants, including over 18,000 sons. Hu Yunjiang only mentioned the son of Asura Immortal Venerable, but didn't specify who exactly. Your Tao soul power swept across, and the entire Asura domain was within your sight. You began to investigate them one by one. Soon, in a sea of blood, you found the awakened son of Asura Immortal Venerable. That was a sea of blood suspended upside down in the sky. The great sun and stars were all beneath the sea of blood, covered in a hazy crimson glow. That place was the Asura Blood Sea. It was the territory of the son of Asura Immortal Venerable, Blood Asura. 532. The ultimate realm of the Immortal Emperor, the realm of the Tao. 3 sacrifices, the wrath of the Immortal Lord. Your Tao body arrived here, only to see the sea of blood bubbling with viscous qi, and an evil, malevolent qi churning. Your Tao body quickly entered a blood-red palace. Devil heads stood outside, clad in armor. Blood Asura was carousing inside the hall. You captured him with one hand, but did not immediately sacrifice him. You were still waiting for someone. A few days later, Hu Yunzhang and Immortal Emperor Xiaoshu arrived. At this moment, you unhesitatingly sacrificed Blood Asura. Your 27th palace was completely condensed into form. You break through to Immortal Sovereign Peak. Your ancestral court was finally completely perfection. At this moment, you felt a sense of fusion with the Tao. This fusion with the Tao was a fusion with the great Tao of heaven and earth. It was similar to the unity of heaven and man. But the unity of heaven and man is only a fusion with that particular heaven and earth. However, you were in a state of fusion with the entire chaos realm. You could draw upon the power of the chaos realm for your own use. Undoubtedly, in this state, your combat power greatly increased. Is this the profundity of a complete ancestral court? It truly is miraculous. It is said that the 27 structures of the ancient heavenly court contain the ultimate principles of heaven and earth. Now it seems that this is indeed the case. Even if you haven't officially breakthrough to Immortal Venerable, your strength now is not weaker than a second-level Immortal Venerable Master like Divine Intent Demon Lord. The moment Blood Asura died, Asura Immortal Venerable sensed it and immediately returned to the Asura domain from outside. When he saw Immortal Emperor Xiaoshu and Hu Yunzhang, he believed his son had died by their hands and immediately captured them. However, he wasn't so insane as to kill them. The master of these two people were extraordinary in strength, and he didn't dare to offend them to the point of no return. He captured them to demand compensation. He was in the right in this matter, so he should at least severely extort them, right? He notified Jade Universe Celestial Venerable and Yaoqi Jade Mother. Upon learning that their beloved disciples had been captured, the two Immortal Venerable immediately rushed over. While they were still negotiating terms, you, in a state of fusion with the Tao, stealthily entered the place where Xiaoshu and Hu Yunzhang were imprisoned. You were just worrying about how to deal with the two of them, and Asura Immortal Venerable gave you this opportunity. You first merged Xiaoshu's true spirit, and then sacrificed both of them together. Although Xiaoshu was your other self, you were ruthless enough not to spare even yourself. What other self? You gladly accepted the true spirit, and as for the physical body and destiny, only by sacrificing them were they most useful to you. A useful other self is a good other self. The existence in the ethereal realm descended again, and this time you chose to strengthen Myriad Law's divine rule. And shortly after Xiaoshu and Hu Yunzhang died, their master sensed it and immediately became furious. How could they die? I had people strictly guarding them. Asura Immortal Venerable went to the place of detention to check, and was immediately dumbfounded. He even wanted to trace back time. But you, in a state of fusion with the Tao, were not within time. Now this is good. Originally, he wanted to extort their master, but now he would probably be extorted by each of their master. What is this? Trying to steal a chicken but losing the rice. Yaoqi Jade Mother and Jade Universe Celestial Venerable were enraged. Their disciples died so inexplicably. No matter who did it, this debt would definitely be put on Asura Immortal Venerable's head. Yaoqi Jade Mother and Jade Universe Celestial Venerable launched a fierce attack on Asura Immortal Venerable. They reduced the entire Asura domain to immortal domain dust. Previously, Asura Immortal Venerable had also reduced the Tian Wu domain to dust. Now it was his own Asura domain's turn. I wonder if this counts as karma. After driving away Asura Immortal Venerable, Yaoqi Jade Mother and Jade Universe Celestial Venerable were still not appeased, so they found Immortal Venerable Guangyin and questioned him as to why he hadn't looked after the two juniors. Immortal Venerable Guangyin was speechless. The Time Tower is not a prison. Their disciples have legs, and they can go wherever they want. Can he be blamed for this? But facing the two people who were in a fit of rage, Immortal Venerable Guangyin ultimately chose to apologize. Although he was in the right. But the other party was being unreasonable. Then he could only apologize. After leaving Immortal Venerable Guangyin, the two Immortal Venerable did not give up. They used various methods to search for the culprit. Someone who can leave no trace in the river of time must at least be in a state of fusion with the chaos realm. Such people only account for a small portion among Immortal Venerable. If the culprit was not Asura Immortal Venerable, it must be one of them. But these people were all difficult to deal with, and without evidence, the two found it difficult to directly confront them. To avoid trouble, you had already transferred all your other selves to the Chongsheng world. You made them cultivate diligently day and night inside. You were only responsible for providing resources and accelerating time. Now that you had merged Immortal Emperor Xiaoshu's true spirit, and all other selves were under your control besides him, you could condense a complete innate spirit at any time. This feeling was incredibly satisfying. On the other side, at Jade Universe Celestial Venerable's suggestion, he and Yaoqi Jade Mother found Divine Intent Demon Lord. Divine Intent Demon Lord was the strongest devil star among the demon star. Their disciples were also Emperor stars, so perhaps he was involved. Just like that, Divine Intent Demon Lord was beaten up again. Divine Intent Demon Lord laughed in anger. If he could sacrifice an Emperor star under the noses of 3 Immortal Venerable, would he still be beaten up every day? Divine Intent Demon Lord said that Lu Changsheng was the strongest devil star, and if they had the guts, they should go find him. But you had been hiding in the Tianwu Divine Hall and not coming out, so the 2 Immortal Venerable had no way to deal with you. After severely beating Divine Intent Demon Lord, the 2 Immortal Venerable left contentedly. Divine Intent Demon Lord slumped on the ground, getting angrier the more he thought about it. Ever since he obtained the Doomsday Altar and became a demon star, everything had gone wrong for him, and he was constantly getting beaten up. He didn't want to be this demon star for another moment. He directly threw the Doomsday Altar in his hand at the entrance of the Tianwu Divine Hall. Of course, he wouldn't give away benefits for free, and he had his own ulterior motives. By doing this, on one hand, he showed that he was giving up the demon star competition, and on the other hand, he hinted that you were a huge threat, making everyone more wary of you. You didn't care what his ulterior motives were. Since he dared to send it to you, you dared to take it. You directly let your great altar devour it. With this, your Doomsday Altar became 7 in 1, and your world-destroying power increased significantly again. Now you no longer went out to cause trouble, focusing on fusing your other selves in the Tianwu Divine Hall. You aimed to form a complete innate spirit as soon as possible. The innate spirit was born before the creation of the world. It can be said to be the essence of the Tao, the spirit of the Tao, the soul of the Tao, and the God of the Tao. Once a complete innate spirit is formed, your speed of comprehending Tao principles will further increase. 533. The Tao of Fire, half-step immortal. Defeated the Divine Will, and became famous. Time flew by, and 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. In these 5 years, you integrated the true spirits of 20 million Immortal King Stage Hua Sheng Ren Fa, and your true spirit grew several times stronger. Moreover, in these 5 years, you comprehended your first Tao principles, the Tao principles of fire. By comprehending Tao principles, you have officially achieved a breakthrough to half-step immortal exalted. The first law you comprehended in the profound yellow great world back then was also the law of fire. And now, you have once again first comprehended the Tao principles of fire. It can only be said that you truly have a predestined relationship with fire. The Tao principles of fire rank over 200 among the 3000 Tao principles, and its power is quite good. It can greatly enhance your offensive capabilities. Over these years, your reincarnation heavenly palace has also grown rapidly. The number of reincarnators has reached trillions. It not only controls the 10 directions land and the 1st to 6th heaven but has also extended its reach into the 7th heaven and the otherworldly. You constantly acquire a massive amount of karma and faith every moment. However, the current influence has expanded to its limit. Continued expansion could easily lead to conflicts with immortal venerable forces. Even now, there are occasional frictions. It's just that the other parties know that the reincarnation heavenly palace is related to you, the strongest devil star, so as long as things don't go too far, immortal venerables generally turn a blind eye. Of course, not everyone is so magnanimous. For example, the gods and demons domain, where Divine Intent Demon Lord resides, has had a significant amount of its territory occupied by the reincarnation heavenly palace. Ever since Divine Intent Demon Lord abandoned the demon star path, he has been contemplating how to achieve a further breakthrough in recent years. When he saw the reincarnation heavenly palace, he was undoubtedly envious. Given the scale of the reincarnation heavenly palace, it can provide a massive amount of resources every moment. Your ability to become the strongest devil star is largely due to the reincarnation heavenly palace. You, a mere immortal emperor, are occupying so many resources. Divine Intent Demon Lord decided to seize the reincarnation heavenly palace. Even if you want to settle scores with him, you'll have to wait until you achieve a breakthrough to Immortal Venerable. You are currently hiding in the Tianwu Divine Hall, so what can you do to him? Thinking of this, Divine Intent Demon Lord began to make a move on the Reincarnation Heavenly Palace. Soon, he subdued the Reincarnation Heavenly Palace's forces in the gods and demons domain. Of course, the reincarnators either joined the investiture of the gods or cultivated the Hewa Sheng Ren Fa, so even if they submitted, it was merely a pretense under pressure, secretly awaiting support. Your Tao body, which oversees the Reincarnation Heavenly Palace, shook his head and laughed upon learning of Divine Intent Demon Lord's move, saying, "This guy truly doesn't know what he's doing. Do you think you're easy to bully just because you're not an Immortal Venerable? It has been decades since you openly made a move in front of everyone. Let's use this guy to establish your prestige. Let all the Immortal Venerables see the true value of you, the strongest Devil Star." Your Tao body, stepping on the 28-petal merit golden lotus, with the chaos clock suspended above his head, and holding the innate supreme treasure left by Tianwu Immortal Lord, the Lumo blade, charged towards Divine Intent Demon Lord's lair. Divine Intent Demon Lord showed no fear when he saw you arrive. Instead, he coldly snorted, "Don't think you can act aggressively just because you have many treasures. You aren't even an Immortal Venerable, and I am a powerful Immortal Venerable of the second heaven. The gap between us is like a chasm, I can suppress you with just one hand." Then, he truly extended only one hand. You thought to yourself, this guy really knows how to put on a show. Then, you chopped off his hand. How could a mere ant harm me? Divine Intent Demon Lord screamed, his eyes filled with horror. Divine Intent, are you really okay? In the distance, several otherworldly immortal exalted who came to watch the show teased him. It was just a moment of carelessness, you don't need to be smug. A cold glint flashed in Divine Intent Demon Lord's eyes as he took out his innate supreme treasure, the Tongyu demonic staff, and attacked you. You met him with a loud laugh, fighting so fiercely that the void realm of the immortal domain shattered in vast swaths. Divine Intent Demon Lord's expression finally changed. He could still claim carelessness just now, but now he saw that your strength was not inferior to his at all. What's going on? Am I really unable to defeat even a half-step Immortal Exalted? Divine Intent Demon Lord roared in his heart. The Immortal Venerables watching the battle were also greatly astonished, suspecting they were seeing things. Prodigies capable of fighting Immortal Venerables beyond their cultivation level are rarely found even in an entire epoch. It seems that you, the strongest Devil Star, truly possess something, and it's certainly not just simple reliance on luck. Divine Intent, you're too useless. You can't even defeat a half-step Immortal Exalted. If I were you, I'd just find an immortal mountain and crash into it to die. Hurry up and admit defeat, don't make a fool of yourself. Those Immortal Venerables, enjoying the spectacle, spared no effort in their mockery and sarcasm. Upon hearing this, Divine Intent Demon Lord's veins bulged on his face. He was a person who valued his face the most. The more they said this, the more he wanted to prove himself. He unleashed his innate Tao principles, the Divine Demon Tao principles. A large amount of demonic mist spread out from his body. His body rapidly expanded, quickly becoming a powerful and colossal existence. He seemed like an amalgamation of countless gods and demons, not like an immortal master, but rather like a shadow. This was the heaven and earth law he formed by integrating the Divine Demon Tao principles into his own body integration. Every move possessed the power to destroy the heavens and earth. Since Divine Intent Demon Lord unleashed his Tao principles, you also didn't hold back and directly unleashed your Tao principles of fire. The void realm instantly erupted like countless volcanoes, and terrifying immortal flames swept across the 10 directions like a sky-high tsunami, shaking both heaven and earth. The Tao principles of fire are one of the 5 elements Tao principles, and their ranking is not below the Divine Demon Tao principles. Coupled with the fact that your immortal power has transformed into Tao power, and with the blessing of the Merit Golden Lotus, it even surpassed Divine Intent Demon Lord's Divine Demon Tao principles. The scene on the field was one of gods and demons being roasted by fire, and Divine Intent Demon Lord's heaven and earth law wailed in the sea of fire. Seeing that his Tao principles were also defeated by you, Divine Intent Demon Lord was completely convinced, and he directly dispelled his heaven and earth law and fled. If he continued fighting, he would only be risking his life, and even then, he might not be able to defeat you. Anyway, he wouldn't be able to regain his face today, so it was better to escape in time. While fleeing, Divine Intent Demon Lord felt extremely aggrieved in his heart. Now even a half-step Immortal Exalted could bully him. He originally thought that his Doomsday Altar brought bad luck. So, it wasn't the Doomsday Altar that was unlucky, but he, the person, right? After driving away Divine Intent Demon Lord, you plundered his lair before leaving. After the great battle, in just a few days, your reputation once again resounded throughout the 9 heavens and 10 earths and the otherworldly. This time, it was no longer because of the strongest devil star in the heavenly witch legacy, but because of your own strength. You, with the body integration of an Immortal Emperor, utterly defeated Divine Intent Demon Lord, an Immortal Venerable of the second heaven. Such a battle record was the first of its kind in this epic. What was even more alarming was the meaning behind this. 534. Killing with a borrowed knife, Kashyapa arrives. The might of the wild god, sacrificed to the Buddha from the east. You, this demon star, are so terrifyingly strong, almost destined to be the child of extinction. However, among the imperial stars, no one has yet appeared who can contend with you. What does this indicate? This indicates that you have great hope of becoming an Immortal Emperor in the future. Many people sigh, asking if this epic cannot escape the fate of premature destruction. Many Immortal Venerables are also beginning to prepare for entering the next epic early. In short, your battle achievements, once spread, caused no small stir in the immortal realm, making the undercurrents even more turbulent. In 7th Heaven, Jade Universe Celestial Venerable and Yaoqi Jade Mother met again. Jade Universe Celestial Venerable said, "This Lu Changsheng is truly an anomaly. I suspect that the deaths of Xiao Shu and Yunzong are also inextricably linked to him." Yaoqi Jade Mother said, "But with his current strength, even if the two of us join forces, it will be very difficult to kill him." Jade Universe Celestial Venerable shook his head and said, "There's no need for the two of us to act. I heard that Great Sun Tathagata Temple in 8th Heaven has produced an imperial star in the Immortal Venerable realm. The two of them are bound to be at loggerheads, and we only need to fan the flames." Soon, in the Great Sun Tathagata Temple region of Limitless Heaven, a large number of remarks about the strongest devil star appeared, all saying that Lu Changsheng, the strongest devil star, was about to become the Immortal Emperor of this epic. At first, Great Sun Tathagata Temple did not care. But with 3 people making a tiger, after some time, even the internal high-level officials began to discuss it. Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence of Great Sun Tathagata Temple is an imperial star. Moreover, with his aptitude, he is very likely to become the epic child. This Lu Changsheng will sooner or later become his enemy, and Great Sun Tathagata Temple has already decided to fully support Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence, and will inevitably be drawn into this struggle between the Demon Star and the Imperial Star. Finally, Great Sun World Honored One of Great Sun Tathagata Temple asked for the opinion of Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence, who was in seclusion. Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence stated that this was an anomaly and should be eliminated as soon as possible. So Great Sun World Honored One sent Kashyapa Bodhisattva to Tianwu Divine Hall with Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence to resolve this matter. In front of Tianwu Divine Hall, Kashyapa Bodhisattva claimed to have important matters to discuss and wished to meet you. This person looked kind-hearted, but your great Luo cave site art kept warning you. Your great Luo cave site art had already been deduced by you to the Immortal Venerable realm. These two definitely harbored ill intentions. At this moment, your Doomsday Altar was restless. You knew this was a reaction to Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence. Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence is a heavenly Buddha star, and his realm is so high. The Doomsday Altar must be coveting him. You did want to make a move, but Kashyapa Bodhisattva was at least at Immortal Venerable 5th Heaven or above, and if you went out, you might not be able to come back. Moreover, the two also had Great Sun Tathagata Temple behind them. Unless the other party actively showed their fangs, you certainly could not easily tear off the pretense. You said that you were in a critical moment of seclusion and it was inconvenient to go out, asking them to return and come another day. However, the other party seemed determined to get you, lingering outside and refusing to leave. Kashyapa even threatened, if you keep not coming out, he will visit your reincarnation heavenly palace. The Buddhist sect he belonged to was very fond of power of faith. With words spoken to this extent, you could roughly guess the intentions of the two. It seemed that Great Sun Tathagata Temple was preparing to make a move on you. Great Sun Tathagata Temple had 7 or 8 Immortal Venerables, and among them, Great Sun World Honored One was even at the Immortal Venerable's 7th Heaven realm. If he personally made a move, even if you hid in Tianwu Divine Hall, you would not be able to escape. Since that was the case, you had to prepare for the worst. While sending out a Tao body to stall the two, you frantically fused with your other true spirits. Your Tao body was quickly seen through by the two, and Kashyapa Bodhisattva said you lacked sincerity. Seeing the two being so aggressive, you also became enraged. If a tiger doesn't show its might, do they really think you're a sick cat? You still had a great weapon in your hand, which was the statue of the prehistoric powerhouse, Desolate. By using power of faith, its power could be activated. With the power of faith you currently possessed, fully activating it would not leave Kashyapa Bodhisattva feeling well either. You opened the main gate of Tianwu Divine Hall and invited the two to enter. At this point, the pressure shifted to Kashyapa Bodhisattva and Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence. Kashyapa Bodhisattva said to Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence, "When we came, World-Honored One instructed that there is nothing inside Tianwu Divine Hall that can harm our lives, so it's perfectly fine to go in." With that, he led Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence inside. As soon as the two entered, the main gate slammed shut. Then, only a huge stone statue was seen placed in front. A terrifying aura permeated from the statue, as if it wanted to slaughter all living beings in the world. Kashyapa Bodhisattva's hair stood on end. Before he could react, golden light shot out from the statue's eyes, striking him and heavily injuring him. Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence was greatly astonished. Was this what he meant by no danger? But having entered Tianwu Divine Hall, there was no way to escape. Afterward, you and three Tao bodies appeared simultaneously, besieging Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence. Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence had just undergone a breakthrough to Immortal Venerable not long ago and was unable to resist, quickly being captured alive by you. Kashyapa Bodhisattva wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said submissively, "We bear no ill will. Why do you treat us like this?" You chuckled. At this point, don't deceive yourselves. Then, you took out the Doomsday Altar, causing the two to change their expressions repeatedly. Kashyapa Bodhisattva angrily shouted, "Your Excellency, do you really want to be endlessly hostile with my great son Tathagata Temple?" Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence is the hope of great son Tathagata Temple. Once he achieves Immortal Emperor, he can lead everyone in the entire temple to transcend the Chaos Realm to the legendary Pure Land of Ultimate Bliss. If he died here, the hope of the entire great son Tathagata Temple would be shattered, and Kashyapa Bodhisattva would also be punished upon returning. Thinking of this, Kashyapa Bodhisattva, enduring his injuries, attacked you. An dark golden palm appeared above your head, covering several hundred mu, descending like a golden cloud. This was Kashyapa's full-strength strike. Even severely injured, he still possessed strength far superior to yours. However, you and your three Tao bodies simultaneously entered a peculiar realm. That was when heaven and earth blessed one, and all Tao returned to one body. In this state, your strength greatly increased, and with one strike, you shattered the dark golden great palm. Kashyapa exclaimed in horror, "You actually comprehended Tao fusion." This was a profound and mysterious realm. Once comprehended, even if he were not injured, it would be difficult to kill you. Had he known you had comprehended Tao fusion, he certainly would not have come here. He clasped his hands together and began to apologize to you, saying that he had no intention of offending, and as long as you returned Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence to him, everyone could still coexist harmoniously afterward. You sneered, regretting it now. Too late. Saying that, you threw Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence into the Doomsday Altar. How could a duck that had fallen into your hands be allowed to fly away? Who cares about great son Tathagata Temple? Even if the King of Hell came today, you would still sacrifice him. 535. The innate spirit is perfect, and the great Sun Buddha takes action. Donglai Memory, Emperor Demon Immortal. A great existence in the ethereal realm descends once more. He sees that you have sacrificed another immortal venerable and is very satisfied. This time, you use all the feedback from the sacrifice to help you devour his true spirit. Your more than 100 million other selves, including Immortal Venerable Wu Tuo's true spirit, are quickly devoured by you. You obtain the complete innate spirit. You instantly feel as if your divine soul has been sublimated. The innate spirit is the Tao spirit, the Tao soul, born before heaven and earth. Once complete, not only will your comprehension ability greatly increase, and your Tao soul will grow more than 10 times stronger, but your level of Tao fusion will deepen, and your overall strength will greatly increase. In addition, your immunity to divine soul-type curses and damage also greatly increases. The complete innate spirit inherently possesses strong resistance to divine soul attacks. Moreover, it is almost impossible to be possessed. You are quite curious. your innate spirit is at perfection in the simulation. But in reality, you still have other selves. Can you continue to fuse? After your innate spirit is complete, the feedback from sacrificing Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence is still not used up. You then use it to strengthen the myriad laws divine rule. Kashyapa Bodhisattva turns pale when he sees that you actually sacrificed Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence. The next moment, Great Sun World Honored One, far away in limitless heaven, senses something, his expression changes, and he extends a Buddha palm, grabbing towards the distant Tianwu Divine Hall. You sense something in your heart, and a strong premonition of danger arises. You leave 3 Tao bodies in place to resist, while your true body quickly escapes. Great Sun World Honored One is an immortal venerable 7th level expert. He is definitely not someone you can contend with. In addition, the power of faith you had accumulated over many years was all used up when you dealt with Kashyapa Bodhisattva and activated Ara's statue. Immortal Venerable Wu Tuo's physical body, having lost its true spirit, is only equivalent to an immortal venerable of the 2nd or 3rd realm. His strength is not much different from your Tao body. The defensive restrictions of the Tianwu Divine Hall are quite powerful and can buy you some time. But it is unknown if they can block Great Sun World Honored One. Great Sun World Honored One quickly uses his Buddha kingdom in his palm to seize the entire Tianwu Divine Hall. Your true body, utilizing the Tao fusion state, escapes into the 7th heaven. At Great Sun Tathagata Temple, before the World Honored One, Kashyapa Bodhisattva clasps his hands together and says shamefully, "It is all this disciple's fault for failing to protect Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence." Great Sun World Honored One shakes his head and says, "Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence was destined to face a calamity. However, my Great Sun Tathagata Temple still has another Emperor star. From now on, we will fully cultivate him." Kashyapa Bodhisattva is startled, not expecting the World Honored One to have a backup plan. However, having just made a big mistake, he dares not ask more and looks towards the Tianwu Divine Hall, asking the World Honored One how he plans to deal with it. Great Sun World Honored One says, "Since we have already offended, we naturally must cut the grass by the roots." A light sentence, seemingly pronouncing your death sentence. But the Tianwu Divine Hall is indeed formidable. Great Sun World Honored One cannot break through it in a short time. Even Kashyapa Bodhisattva was driven out by your Tao body. Although Kashyapa is severely injured, he still possesses a certain destructive power. If he remained inside, you would have to worry about his schemes. Since it cannot be breakthrough in a short time, Great Sun World Honored One recites scriptures day and night to your Tao body. The Buddhist chants contain strong divine soul attacks, as if trying to forcibly convert you and make you believe in Buddhism. Fortunately, your innate spirit is already complete, and the influence of the Buddhist chants on you is very limited. Your true body, meanwhile, cultivates in seclusion in the Tai Huang heaven of the 7th heaven. The treasures in the Heaven Huang Divine Hall had already been moved by you to the Chongsheng world. Even if it is breakthrough by Great Sun World Honored One, he will only get an empty shell of a divine hall. Now, your divine soul and immortal power have all transformed into Tao soul and Tao power. Even your innate spirit has reached perfection. Only the final Tao principles are left before you can step into the immortal venerable realm. You currently control the Tao principles of fire. Among the 3,000 Tao principles, it ranks over 200, definitely not weak. But even with it, breakthrough to immortal venerable, you still cannot rival Great Sun World Honored One. Your focus is still on the myriad laws divine rule. The myriad laws divine rule, having been strengthened by your repeated sacrifices, is already very powerful. Its power is not inferior to some Tao principles ranked in the thousands. But to reach its limit and undergo transformation, it is still quite far off. If you rely on your own efforts, it will probably take several hundred more years for it to transform. Rather than relying on your own efforts, it is better to sacrifice others. This is not called path dependence. This is called letting the Emperor Star reach the pure land of ultimate bliss early. You just sacrificed Eastern Arrival Buddha reverence. He left behind a large amount of memories, which should contain quite a bit about the Emperor stars. Previously, you had not had time to examine them carefully. Now you begin to examine them in detail. Most of the memories are about his daily cultivation at Great Sun Tathagata Temple. It must be said, he is indeed a cultivation fanatic. His level of effort in cultivation is comparable to yours. To be precise, he is still a little bit worse than you. Otherwise, he would not have been sent to the pure land of ultimate bliss by you. There are more than a dozen Emperor stars in Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence's memories. Even after removing the Emperor stars you have already sacrificed, there are still 4 left. 3 of them have not yet awakened. The only one that has awakened is named Jehu Qing, the grand disciple of Immortal Venerable Light and Shadow. Currently, he should also be cultivating in the Time Tower. Immortal Venerable Light and Shadow's realm is not lower than Kashyap's. He is an Immortal Venerable 5th level, and moreover, he controls time laws, making him one of the most troublesome Immortal Venerables. In Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence's previous epoch, it was only because Immortal Venerable Light and Shadow was injured by someone that he had an opportunity to plunder Jehu Qing's star destiny. Besides the Emperor stars, you are also quite interested in the cause of Immortal Venerable Eastern Arrival's death. He was exceptionally talented, breaking through to Immortal Venerable in just over 10,000 years. Then he went into seclusion for tens of thousands of years, breaking through to Immortal Venerable 5th level. And he had the great Sun Tathagata temple backing him. Who could kill such a figure? Soon, you find the cause of his death from his memory fragments. The one who killed him was a terrifying figure seated on an emperor seat, with black blood flowing all over his body. In your last simulation, after the Hongmeng Dao Palace advanced to an innate supreme treasure, when you looked out at the 8th heaven with your eye of illusory breaking, you once saw such a figure. It is unknown if it is the same person. In Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence's memory, this person is called Immortal Venerable Demo. He is an Immortal Venerable 10th level expert. An existence infinitely close to Immortal Emperor. He usually lived in seclusion in the sea of lava in limitless heaven. But just as Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence was about to become the epic child, he suddenly made a move and killed him. 536. Weird Emperor Demon, System Restart. The secret of Wu Xuan, the ancestor of Immortal Dao. The demonic Immortal Venerable is neither an Emperor star nor a demon star. Because before the Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence, when the child of extinction appeared, the demonic Immortal Venerable had already killed him. But he himself did not become the new child of extinction. At that time, everyone thought he didn't want the epic's tribulation to erupt prematurely. Unexpectedly, he later attacked the Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence. Whether it's the child of extinction or the epic child, he wants to kill them all. This person, he seems to have a serious illness. The key is, with him doing this, what are you going to do next? If you achieve a breakthrough to Immortal Venerable, you will directly become the child of extinction. Even if you become the child of extinction, you definitely can't defeat a master at the Immortal Venerable 10th level. This, in turn, presents you with a difficult problem. How can you solve this problem? Find a backer. You don't know any masters at the Immortal Venerable 10th level either. Besides, most Immortal Venerables don't want to get involved in the conflict between the Demon Star and the Emperor Star. It's probably not easy to find a backer to contend with the demonic Immortal Venerable. If you can't find a backer, you only have to find another solution. Also, in the last simulation, was the being that the monkey said he wanted to fight the demonic Immortal Venerable. If he is the mastermind behind everything, raising all living beings, then it might require a long-term plan. You thought of someone. That's right, it's Wu Xuan. Wu Xuan was seemingly sealed by people from the Immortal Reverence Hall. The Immortal Reverence Hall was established by more than 20 Immortal Venerables. Its duty is to maintain the operation of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, resist attacks from other domains, and its headquarters are in the 8th heaven. The Jade Universe Celestial Venerable, Yaoqi Jade Mother, 9 Lives Immortal, Immortal Kang Mang, and others from the 7th heaven are all members of it. If you say you are completely fearless, that would certainly be false. But, if you act carefully, the Immortal Reverence Hall might not discover your actions. Then let's go see Wu Xuan, that old friend. To be on the safe side, you definitely won't go in person. Last time Sun Wukong went, let him go again this time. After all, you helped him advance to the Immortal Emperor realm. It's not too much for him to do a small favor in return, is it? The most important thing is that after Sun Wukong went last time, he wasn't annihilated, only his relevant memories were erased. So, sending him is the safest option. Sun Wukong, who was enjoying himself in the 6th heaven, heard the system's voice again in his mind. The great sage equal to heaven system is restarting. System energy is insufficient. Completing the task will satisfy the energy. Does the host accept? The great sage equal to heaven system. Sun Wukong was first stunned, then overjoyed. During the days without the system, his cultivation speed was like a turtle crawling. He had thought the system was gone for good, but he didn't expect it could restart. I accept, Sun Wukong immediately said. System task. Go to the Godfall Sea in the 10 Directions land, unseal the ancient god Wushuan, and find the truth of the world. Subsequently, a map appeared in Sun Wukong's mind, marking the location where the ancient god Wushuan was sealed. It seemed unusually simple. It's just that I don't know what realm this ancient god Wushuan is, and what is this world's truth. Sun Wukong felt that the system wouldn't harm him, so he didn't think much of it and directly flew towards the 10 Directions land with a somersault cloud. When he arrived at the undersea dragon palace where the ancient god Wushuan was sealed, he directly pulled out his golden hooped rod and smashed it down. Only a scream was heard, and ancient god Wushuan died on the spot. No way, how could he be so weak? The monkey was stunned. He had thought the character prompted by the system was very powerful. After all, being related to something as high class as the truth of the world, he should at least be an immortal king, right? Unexpectedly, he was just a small supreme immortal. Now that Wushuan is dead, what about the system's task? Will it never restart? Sun Wukong scratched his ears and cheeks in frustration. When he saw the remnant soul of ancient god Wushuan floating out, his eyes lit up. The system didn't say whether he needed to be alive or dead, only that he needed to investigate the truth of the world. He grabbed Wushuan's remnant soul and began to search his soul. Soon, his eyes widened. So, this is the truth of the world. How unfortunate are the living beings of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Who dares to pry into the secrets of an immortal venerable? Just then, a mysterious and powerful chi descended. As he was about to annihilate Sun Wukong, he seemed to suddenly discover something. In the end, he only erased his relevant memories. And just as the mysterious chi descended, the system in Sun Wukong's mind automatically self-destructed. The system is a wisp of your consciousness. It could sense that the owner of this chi was no weaker than Kashapa in his prime. And everything Sun Wukong saw during the soul search just now, you naturally took in completely. Your main body, all doubts in its eyes dissipated. You learned many secrets, whether it was Wushuan's origin, the long curious truth of the world, or the relationship between the Immortal Reverence Hall and the truth of the world. Even the death of the Tianwu Immortal Lord was related to the truth of the world. You sighed. I didn't expect that the Immortal Emperor position of this epoch was already predetermined. Only one person can become the Immortal Emperor, and that is the one who founded the entire Immortal Dao cultivation system. Wushuan didn't know the specific origin of that person, only that he was a prehistoric being, and everyone called him the Immortal Ancestor. He came to this epoch, and not long after the creation of heaven and earth, he passed down the Immortal Dao cultivation method. The living beings of this world, from the very beginning, have been cultivating the Dao he passed down. This process can be called spreading the Dao. Of course, he was not the only prehistoric powerhouse who spread the Dao. For example, the Tianwu Immortal Lord was also one of them. That's right, the Tianwu Immortal Lord was also a prehistoric powerhouse. He was not a person of this epoch. The Immortal Ancestor spread the Immortal Dao, while the Tianwu Immortal Lord spread the Heavenly Witch Dao. Many prehistoric powerhouses wanted the Dao they passed down to become the mainstream cultivation method of this epoch. This process should have great benefits, but Wushuan couldn't know what the specific benefits were. In this process, there were fierce battles. Just like the Tianwu Immortal Lord, he ultimately fell into the hands of the Immortal Ancestor. The Immortal Ancestor killed not only the Tianwu Immortal Lord but also many other prehistoric powerhouses, thus becoming the final winner. His Dao then became the mainstream cultivation method. Even the largest plane in the Chaos Realm was renamed the Immortal Realm. Therefore, the origin of the Immortal Realm's name is also inextricably linked to the Immortal Dao cultivation method. However, the Immortal Ancestor failed to completely eradicate all other cultivation methods. To ensure the purity of Immortal Dao cultivation, he specifically opened up the 9 heavens and 10 directions land in the Immortal Realm. This is the origin of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. 537. The origin of the palace, the secret of the Immortal Ancestors. The abduction of the Emperor Star, the wrath of time. The Immortal Reverence Hall was also built by the Immortal Ancestor to manage the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Among them, more than 20 Immortal Venerables are his disciples. They are also the fruits of this epoch, born from the Immortal Dao cultivation method. However, in the foreign realm, the cultivation methods are more varied. There is the Immortal Dao, but also various other cultivation methods. Their forces are also uneven in quality. but to resist the 9 heavens and 10 earths, they barely united. This formed 2 distinct major forces within the immortal realm. Wu Xuan's father, Immortal Venerable Wu Heng, was once a member of the Immortal Reverence Hall, but later, for reasons unknown, he was sent to the Dao Ruins realm by the Immortal Ancestor, and Wu Xuan, his only offspring, was also sealed. It is because of this relationship that Wu Xuan knows so many secrets. You also did not expect the Immortal Ancestor's scheme to be so grand. Of course, to ensure everything developed according to his preset direction. The Immortal Ancestor also specifically left behind Immortal Venerable Demo to eliminate all anomalies. That's right, Immortal Venerable Demo is also a prehistoric powerhouse. When you first encountered the Dao Ruins realm, you thought all prehistoric powerhouses were blocked in the past. Now that you see it, how has the rear been infiltrated like a sieve? Even the Immortal Dao and many cultivation methods were passed down by prehistoric powerhouses. So, who exactly is the Dao Ruins realm blocking? Your heart was restless for a long time. Most importantly, according to Wu Xuan's memory, the position of Immortal Emperor has long been reserved by the Immortal Ancestor. All competitors will be mercilessly eliminated by him. Especially the Child of Extinction and the Epic Child. Once they appear, they will surely die. You originally wanted to break through to Immortal Venerable earlier and become the Child of Extinction. Now, it seems that the identity of the Child of Extinction has become a death warrant. Can you negotiate with the existence in the dark to not let you become the Child of Extinction so soon? To negotiate with him, he must first appear. You set your sights on Jehu Qing, the disciple's grandson of Immortal Venerable Guangyin. This guy is the awakened Emperor star in Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence's memory. Now that there's a need, you can only make him suffer a bit. However, what perplexes you is this. It's unlikely that the Great Sun Tathagata Temple wouldn't know about an existence like the Immortal Ancestor, right? If they knew, why would they desperately cultivate Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence and let him become the Epic Child? Isn't that clearly sending him to his death? You think there are 2 possibilities. One is that the Great Sun Tathagata Temple does not know that the Immortal Ancestor will eliminate the Epic Child or the Child of Extinction. The second is that the Great Sun Tathagata Temple knows the inside story, but has other motives. But no matter what, Eastern Arrival Buddha Reverence has already been sacrificed by you. No matter what the Great Sun Tathagata Temple's purpose was, it has been disrupted by your own hands. The relationship between you has also become irreconcilable. Anyway, with so many debts, there's no need to worry, you should first go and sacrifice Jehu Qing. Jehu Qing is cultivating in the Time Tower. How to sneak in doesn't stump you. Many prodigies enter and exit the Time Tower, you only need to disguise yourself as one of them. Of course, it's not just any disguise. The Time Tower has a total of 10 floors. Each floor increases the acceleration by 10,000 times. Jehu Qing is on the top floor of the Time Tower, enjoying 100,000 times time acceleration. Ideally, you should also choose a high-level prodigy. 538. Hunting Order, Soul-Searching Divine Will. Yuanyang Immortal Venerable, the way to avoid disaster. However, to be safe, you decided to strengthen it. You spent another 3 years, deducing the subsequent 2 levels of the realm and cultivating them to perfection. Now, even an Immortal Venerable 3rd level would find it difficult to escape your soul search. There are over 20 Immortal Venerables in the Immortal Reverence Hall. You definitely need to target the weakest among them. Even the weakest is a disciple of the Immortal Ancestor and should know many secrets. However, you are not familiar with the internal personnel of the Immortal Reverence Hall. You thought of Divine Intent Demon Lord. This guy has lived for so long and is an otherworldly immortal exalted, so he should not be unfamiliar with the Immortal Reverence Hall. Moreover, he is only at the Immortal Venerable 2nd level, which is perfect for your soul search. Just as you were preparing to act, Great Sun World Honored One of the 8th Heaven broke through the restriction of the Tianwu Divine Hall. You simply recalled all your Tao body. As a result, Great Sun World Honored One only found an empty Tianwu Divine Hall. He was stunned. If it was empty inside, who was resisting before? He quickly realized that it was your clone or incarnation. It had cost him a great deal of effort to break the restriction of the Tianwu Divine Hall. Upon learning that he had been tricked, he immediately issued a hunt order against you in the name of the Great Sun Tathagata Temple. He also sent Kashyapa Bodhisattva to destroy the reincarnation heavenly palace you created. The resources and core members of the reincarnation heavenly palace had already been transferred by you to the Chongsheng world. Although this greatly reduced the losses, with the great Sun Tathagata temple involved, the reincarnation heavenly palace would clearly not be able to operate normally in the future. You didn't pay too much attention to it. Your original intention in establishing the reincarnation heavenly palace was to collect faith and karma. Faith was used to cultivate your other selves, and karma was used to utilize the merit golden lotus. Now, all your other selves have been fused and devoured by you, and you still have a considerable amount of karma saved, enough for a long period. As for the reincarnator's brothers in the Chongsheng world, you directly applied a time stasis spell to them. If they are alive, they will definitely cultivate, and cultivation consumes resources. Previously, their resources were earned by themselves, but now that they can't go out, wouldn't they have to use your resources? Rather than that, it's better to let them have a good sleep. When there's an opportunity to rebuild the reincarnation heavenly palace in the future, you can lift the time pause and release them. A month later, you located Divine Intent Demon Lord. You and your 3 Tao body, each holding an innate supreme treasure, suppressed Divine Intent Demon Lord before he could even escape. Subsequently, you used the heaven-shattering earth-destroying soul search hand to perform a soul search on him. It must be said that Divine Intent Demon Lord is indeed an old fossil, providing you with many secrets about the 9 heavens and 10 earths and the otherworldly. Naturally, many of them were about the Immortal Reverence Hall. However, Divine Intent Demon Lord did not know the relationship between Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable and the Immortal Ancestor. Nor did he know that Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable would hunt the child of extinction and the epic child. Otherwise, even if he had 100 guts, he wouldn't dare to become a demon star. At this point, the value of Wu Xuan was evident. Over the long years, Divine Intent Demon Lord had interacted with most of the Immortal Venerables in the Immortal Reverence Hall. Among them, the weakest in strength was Immortal Yuan Yang. She was only at the Immortal Venerable first-level realm. Immortal Yuan Yang had suffered emotional trauma in her early years, and later, only with the help of many fellow disciples, she barely stepped into the Immortal Venerable realm. Since then, her cultivation had made no further progress. If you wanted to find someone for a soul search, she was undoubtedly the best choice. After performing a soul search on Divine Intent Demon Lord, you found a remote place and sealed him, to prevent him from speaking indiscriminately. Subsequently, you went to the residence of Immortal Yuan Yang. Immortal Yuan Yang resided on Peach Blossom Immortal Mountain in Limitless Heaven. This place was almost isolated from the world, her small pure land. When you arrived, Immortal Yuan Yang was still preaching to the beasts of Peach Blossom Immortal Mountain. As an Immortal Venerable, she neither pursued fame and fortune nor was enthusiastic about cultivate, truly an anomaly. If placed in the world before your transmigration, she would definitely be a laid-back Immortal Venerable. All of this might be related to the emotional trauma she suffered in her early years. Although Immortal Yuan Yang's realm was relatively low, she had good interpersonal relationships in the Immortal Reverence Hall, so you had to act quickly to avoid attracting other Immortal Venerables. After you made your move, Immortal Yuan Yang was greatly alarmed. Before she could even resist, she was easily captured by you. You performed a soul search on her. You found that all her memories related to the Immortal Ancestor in her mind were blurry. You could tell that this was due to a special influence, preventing outsiders from viewing them. If you were to forcibly view them, you would certainly be detected by the Immortal Ancestor. You naturally wouldn't take such a risk. You captured Immortal Yuan Yang simply to ascertain how to avoid being hunted by Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable after breakthrough to Immortal Venerable and becoming the child of extinction. You soul searched and found that there were 2 methods. One was to receive the protection of other powerful cultivators. There is an Immortal Venerable in the otherworldly named Great Zizai Heavenly Devil. He is also at the Immortal Venerable 10th level. If he is willing to protect you, unless the Immortal Ancestor personally takes action, Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable would find it difficult to harm you. Great Zizai Heavenly Devil's whereabouts are elusive, and his temperament is unpredictable. If you really went to see him, perhaps before Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable even made a move, he would have already devoured you. In comparison, you felt that the second method was more reliable. That is to enter the Dao Ruins realm. The Dao Ruins realm is a large-scale Immortal Venerable battlefield. There are Immortal Venerable powerhouses from various epochs, with experts as numerous as clouds. The Immortal Ancestor is not invincible there either. As long as you enter the Dao Ruins realm and join a force hostile to the Immortal Ancestor, he would find it very difficult to kill you. Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable, whose strength is inferior to the Immortal Ancestor, goes without saying. Moreover, Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable primarily monitors the current space-time, and without the immortal ancestor's command, he would not enter the Tao Ruins realm. To enter the Tao Ruins realm, one must first possess a complete innate spirit, and second, have access to the 9 heavens. You already possess the former, and the latter requires Immortal Venerable's strength or an Immortal Venerable's recommendation. You naturally meet both conditions. It's just that the place is extremely dangerous, and if you go with your current strength, although you won't be targeted by the immortal ancestor, you could easily perish. It can be said that there is no perfect solution in the world. If you could start over and hadn't become a demon star, you wouldn't be in this dilemma now. Perhaps this is how all things have yin and yang aspects, with both advantages and disadvantages. You enjoyed the benefits brought by sacrificing the Emperor Star, and you must also bear the corresponding consequences. You pondered repeatedly and finally decided to enter the Tao Ruins realm. If you stayed in the Chaos realm, once you break through to Immortal Venerable and become the child of extinction, it would attract Emperor Demon Immortal Venerable's attack. Although the Tao Ruins realm is dangerous, you would definitely live longer there. Of course, you are not entering now. You must first let Myriad Law's divine rule transform into Tao principles, so you can break through to Immortal Venerable at any time, and then enter the Tao Ruins realm. 539. 200 years later, the laws of all things. The other side of the sky, the ferryman. For the next period of time, you continued to cultivate in seclusion on Peach Garden Immortal Mountain. Immortal Yuan Yang, meanwhile, was under your control. You also tried to force her to cultivate Hewa Sheng Ren Fa, but it didn't have much effect. To control an Immortal Venerable with a Tao soul, the current grade of Hewa Sheng Ren Fa was still too low. Although you had already evolved it into an Immortal Venerable Law, its usefulness was still limited. You didn't dwell on this matter too much. You only needed to cultivate here for 200 or 300 years, and your Myriad Law's divine rule would undergo a transformation. At that time, you could then proceed to the Tao Ruins realm. Time flew by, and 100 years passed in a flash. You comprehended more than 20 Tao principles, including gold, wood, water, earth, wind, thunder, light, and darkness. You integrated all their essence into the Myriad Law's divine rule, causing its power to surge and bringing it closer to transforming into a Tao principles. Immortal Kang Mang, a friend of Immortal Yuan Yang, came to visit. The entire process was under your control. You were afraid that Immortal Yuan Yang would show any flaw and be discovered by Immortal Kang Mang. Immortal Kang Mang was a powerful Immortal Venerable of the 4th realm. Even if you and your 3 Tao bodies attacked with full force, it would be difficult to defeat him, let alone capture him. If he discovered anything unusual, it would surely attract the pursuit of the Immortal Reverence Hall. Fortunately, he stayed for a few days and did not find anything amiss with Immortal Yuan Yang. Time quickly passed for another 123 years. You again comprehended nearly 30 Tao principles and integrated them into the Myriad Law's divine rule. The Myriad Law's divine rule finally reached a certain limit and began to transform. The transformation of a divine law into a Tao principles causes a huge commotion, easily attracting other Immortal Venerables. You and your 3 Tao bodies suppressed the phenomena with all your might, thus avoiding this risk. However, an invisible fluctuation still spread out, allowing many Immortal Venerables to perceive that a new Tao principles had been born in the Chaos realm. Immortal Venerables with a deeper realm, such as Great Sun World Honored One, could even know that this was a Tao principles transformed from the King of Divine Laws, the Myriad Law's divine rule. You had used the Myriad Law's divine rule when you fought against Immortal Hongjun before. Therefore, it was no secret that you were the master of the Myriad Law's divine rule. Great Sun World Honored One did not expect that the Great Sun Tathagata Temple, after searching for you for over 200 years, not only failed to find you but instead allowed your strength to greatly advance. Once your Myriad Law's divine rule transformed into a Tao principles, you would likely break through to Immortal Venerable soon, making you even more troublesome at that time. However, you had the Hongmeng Tao Palace and the Doomsday Altar to shield your heavenly secrets, and you had also comprehended the Tao integration state, making your own chi even more concealed. Even if Great Sun World Honored One personally took action, he would find it difficult to locate you for a while. Therefore, the Great Sun Tathagata Temple could only worry in vain. After the Myriad Law's divine rule transformed, it could at least rank among the top 100 among Tao principles, and it could continue to grow stronger in the future. Next, you only needed to completely engrave it on your ancestral court as your innate Tao principles to break through to Immortal Venerable. This step was effortless for any immortal venerable. However, your ancestral court had a total of 27 structures, and the difficulty of engraving was more than 10 times greater than for an ordinary immortal venerable. Even so, with your comprehension ability and strength, it only took you 1 or 2 years to almost complete the engraving of the myriad laws Tao principle. The remaining part would take less than a day to complete. But you deliberately did not take this final step. Once you break through in the chaos realm, you would become the child of extinction, thus attracting the intervention of the immortal demon Venerable. Next, it was time to go to the Tao ruins realm. Of course, you would definitely let your Tao body explore the way. Now, your immortal power, immortal soul, physical body, and divine law had all transformed. Even a single Tao body was no weaker than an immortal venerable of the third realm, capable of easily defeating 2 or 3 divine intent demon lords. Just exploring the way, there shouldn't be any danger, right? Your Tao body entered the 8th heaven, limitless heaven. Limitless means infinite. Limitless heaven was the largest dimension in the immortal realm, with almost no boundaries. It was also the strongest dimension in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. But you did not stay here long. Instead, you used it as a springboard to enter the 9 heavens, Other Shore Sky. Other Shore also carries a meaning of transcendence. Other Shore Sky indeed transcended the chaos realm. Even during the epic calamity, when all things were destroyed, it did not affect its existence. It was rumored that the immortal emperors of various epochs passed through here to reach the true eternal land, gaining great freedom, great liberation, and great ease. Due to the high threshold for entering Other Shore Sky, generally, only immortal venerables could enter. So, for most beings in the immortal realm, it was an extremely mysterious place. This was also your first time entering Other Shore Sky. But you had already learned of its extraordinary nature from the memories of Divine Intent Demon Lord and Immortal Yuan Yang. The interior of Other Shore Sky was a boundless expanse, filled with chaotic holes formed by destruction and collapse. Any single chaotic hole could easily swallow an immortal realm dimension. Below the immortal venerable realm, it was difficult to survive here. Even immortal venerables could easily get injured if they were not careful. After entering Other Shore Sky, you began to search for the passage to the Tao Ruins realm. The endless chaotic holes in Other Shore Sky were mostly constantly devouring, destroying, and rebirthing. But a very small number of stable chaotic holes were entrances to other worlds. For example, the Tao Ruins realm, or the eternal land where immortal emperors went. Divine Intent Demon Lord cherished his life and had not been to the Tao Ruins realm. But immortal Yuan Yang had traveled to and from the Tao Ruins realm with the immortal ancestor. Based on her memory, you headed to the entrance of the Tao Ruins realm. You traveled through Other Shore Sky for several months, and then, you successfully got lost. Immortal Yuan Yang had originally entered the Tao Ruins realm under the guidance of the immortal ancestor. She might not even know the exact location of the entrance herself. Moreover, its location was constantly changing. What to do about being lost? Should you go find a few more immortal venerables to ask? Just as you were frowning in distress, a somewhat dilapidated immortal boat slowly drifted from the distant void realm. A gaunt old boatman, wearing a bamboo hat, was sitting at the bow, looking up and drinking wine. This is a ferry boat. In immortal Yuan Yang's memory, Other Shore Sky had special immortal boats that transported people. They could take people to their desired destination, and such boats were called ferry boats. The boatman on board was called a ferryman. The immortal ancestor had once warned his disciples not to easily provoke ferrymen if they encountered them. "Young man, are you lost?" the old boatman said cheerfully as the dilapidated immortal boat approached. His face was sallow, his beard white, and he was lean and carefree, without any powerful aura, as if he were an ordinary person. In Other Shore Sky, even immortal venerables could easily encounter danger. Someone who could ferry here for a long time was definitely not immortal. 540. Dangerous Daoshu Realm, a place where jehu were raised. Plateau Ancestral Land, Immortal Ancestor Yuxuan. You are highly skilled and bold, directly jumping onto the boat. Anyway, you are just a Tao body, what is there to fear? You said to him, "Boatman, what's the price to go to Tao Ruins realm?" The old boatman held out a finger and said, "One innate spirit treasure." You hesitated for a long time, then took out a long saber broken into 2 halves, and asked hesitantly, "Can a broken one also work?" The old boatman's face darkened. Who among those who can come to Other Shore Sky lacks an innate spirit treasure? You brat, are you intentionally looking for trouble? He raised his oar, as if intending to drive you off. You quickly took out a complete innate spirit treasure and handed it to him, and only then did his expression slightly soften. Sit tight. The old boatman went to the stern, rowing with both oars, and the immortal boat began to shuttle rapidly through the void realm. Along the way, you said to the old man, "Old man, do you know the immortal ancestor?" The old boatman smiled and said, "I know him, he's even ridden on my boat." You then said, "Old man, if I become the child of extinction on your boat, can he spare me because of your face?" The old boatman seemed not to hear, saying loudly, "What did you say?" So, you repeated it again. The old boatman still said, louder, "I can't hear you." You sighed, and said helplessly, "I said I want to give you an innate spirit treasure." "All right, thank you, young man." This time, the old boatman could finally hear. Goodness, he's selectively deaf, isn't he? So, you gave him the broken saber from before. Anyway, you didn't say whether it was intact or not. Seeing his face darken a bit, you felt a little more satisfied. However, judging from the old boatman's reaction, although he is mysterious and unfathomable, he doesn't want to interfere with the immortal ancestor's affairs. "Young man, we've arrived." 3 days later, the old boatman brought you to a dark, large chaos vortex, which swallowed everything like a black hole. This is the entrance to the Tao Ruins realm. After your Tao body entered, it quickly arrived in a strange world. Time and space are chaotic in this world. In some places, 100 years pass in an instant, while in others, a millennium is but a fleeting moment. This is due to the immortal Venerable's long-term battles. Even time and space were shattered. The Tao Ruins realm is divided into 9 regions in total. They are Heaven, Earth, Profound, Yellow, Universe, Cosmos, Flood, Desolation, and Central. You don't know which region you are currently in. Your Tao body hadn't gone far when it saw 2 high-level immortal venerables, at least above Immortal Venerable 7th Heaven, engaged in a fierce battle. There, treasure light soared into the sky, interweaving and illuminating the 4 poles of the heavens. Terrifying power shattered everything, sweeping boundlessly. One of them seemed to be a Taoist, and the other was a devil cultivator. You saw them, and they naturally discovered you too. Good timing, this lord just happens to need blood food. The devil cultivator laughed aloud, extending a black hand filled with devilish chi, and grabbed at you. Your Tao body had nowhere to escape, nowhere to hide. It was seized by him and refined in an instant. Your Tao body perished. Your main body in the 8th heaven opened its eyes, feeling a bit of heartache. Your 2 innate spirit treasures were gone just like that. They say the Tao Ruins realm is dangerous, but this is too dangerous. Your Tao body was gone as soon as it entered. Was it bad luck, or are there too many masters? Afterward, you sent another Tao body to scout the way. Your previous Tao body had already memorized the entrance location of the Tao Ruins realm. Your Tao body spent half a month entering the Tao Ruins realm again. This time, it lived a little longer. It lived for 3 days before being killed by a monster with 3 heads, 6 arms, wings, and no feet. This Tao Ruins realm is too dangerous. High-level immortal venerables are everywhere. Although your Tao body could contend with powerhouses around Immortal Venerable 3rd Heaven, in the Tao Ruins realm, it was merely prey. That place feels like a jehu breeding ground. Slightly weaker Immortal Venerables simply cannot survive. No wonder so many Immortal Venerables, even during the epic's end, still remain in the Chaos realm. Nothing else, the Tao Ruins realm is simply not a place where ordinary Immortal Venerables can go. You originally planned to venture into the Tao Ruins realm and break through. Now it seems this idea was somewhat naive. Next, are you just going to not break through? That doesn't seem like a solution either. You decided to go to Other Shore Sky again, find that mysterious old boatman, and pay a higher price to ask him if he has a solution. Your Tao body entered Other Shore Sky for the 3rd time. This time, after wandering inside for more than half a year, you encountered that dilapidated immortal boat again. On the boat was still the same old boatman you had met before. You wanted to board the boat, but he held an oar horizontally, blocking you outside. He took out the broken saber, split into 2 halves, that you had given him last time. The meaning was clear. You quickly gave him 2 innate spirit treasures, and only then did he let you board. After boarding, you were surprised to find that there was actually a person sitting in the cabin. That person was dressed in a green robe, appeared middle-aged, with a chiseled face, extraordinary demeanor, and quite a bit of immortal aura. You didn't feel any chi from him, just like the old boatman. You knew that this was most likely also a powerful expert with profound cultivation. So, you cupped your hands to him and said, "May I ask for fellow Taoist's name?" The middle-aged Taoist said indifferently that his name was Yuzan. Subsequently, you learned in the following conversation that he was returning to the Chaos Realm from the Highland Ancestral Land. As for what the Highland Ancestral Land was, he didn't elaborate. He only said it was an extremely strange and dangerous place. Ordinary immortal venerables who go there will surely die. Other Shore Sky is a passage to many unknown places. It seems this Highland Ancestral Land should also be like the Tao Ruins realm. A glimmer of hope emerged in your heart again. Since there are dangerous places, there must also be relatively safe places. If you could find such a place, your life would be greatly secured. Subsequently, your Tao body gave the old boatman a full 10 innate spirit treasures, asking him if there was a way to avoid being hunted by the immortal ancestor if you break through to Immortal Venerable and became the child of extinction. The old boatman accepted the innate spirit treasures, looked at you with a strange expression, and then at Yuzan. He said to you, "Such a matter, you shouldn't ask this old man, but rather the immortal ancestor." You said that the immortal ancestor's whereabouts are unpredictable, even his disciples don't know his location, and besides, if you really met the immortal ancestor, you would definitely have to hide, so how could you ask him? The old boatman said with a strange expression, "Isn't he sitting right next to you? You can just ask him." You,